don't ask me for legal advice.
So, we're gonna start with you, Judy, on,
Well, see you there.
fiscal year 2024 budget. Okay. You ready to roll?
Not yet, we got 1 minute.
We think he finally emailed, but I'll get with to update on that. But that's
Did
good.
respond?
I think so, yes,
Oh,
sir.
did he?
Did he respond? Okay, are we ready?
I hope he was that sick. We ready to roll? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Village of Ruidoso budget hearings. It's April 26, 2023. It's 9 o'clock. If you'll join with me we'll stand for a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All righty. Everybody get a good look at Chief Chavez. Is purple his color? It is his color. Man, it really goes good with those cheeks, Chief. All right. So good morning, everyone. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Eby,
Here.
Councilor Letterman. Here. Councilor Hooker,
Here.
Councilor Coughlin,
Aye.
Councilor Jackson.
I hear. I hear.
Sorry, the last meeting kind of got me in a mood.
Okay. All right, we have the agenda item is discussion and presentation on the fiscal year 2024 Village of Ruidoso operating budget. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. In front of you and over the next few days, we'll be looking at crafting our fiscal year 2024 budget. But I wanted to start out a little bit and tell you what currently is in the budget. Right now, all the funds are budgeted within their estimated cash ending balance. We do have the new pay plan that was recently approved included in there. We do have all capital outlay requests from the departments currently in the budget. There were 4 positions requested, 3 in the general fund, 1 in an enterprise fund. We have only included 1 new position in the general fund, which is a custodian, because we're adding the new building of the magistrate court. And in the enterprise fund, it's another heavy equipment operator. That does not mean that we can't add the other 2 positions. It just means at this point, since it is balanced, we would have to cut something out of the budget in order to handle the additional expenditure. When we looked at personnel, currently I have a 5.3 insurance increase. However, when we actually go to renew, we will get a 1% discount because we will be renewing the dental with no fee in addition to the health. So instead of a 5.3 increase, we will be experiencing a 4.3 increase. However, the higher amount is currently in this budget, just as a little precaution. When we were looking at the overall comparison of personnel from last year to this year, it looks like the pay plan increased overall to the whole Village of Ruidoso about $2.2 million. at this point, right now, when we look back, we are using some additional funds in the general fund to balance the budget. But when you look at operations, the operations in the general fund are only $4 million. And when we looked department by the department, most departments stayed about equal, so I couldn't see trying to carve out 1 or 2 million out of operations when there hardly was any amount in the general fund for operations. So right now, we are still balanced. However, we'll be using a little bit of our cash savings from prior years in order to pay for operations. On some of the enterprise funds, their operating revenues aren't covering their operating expenditures, which is what the rate analysis is showing us. So they will be using a lot of their cash balance to balance out some of those enterprise funds, which is still okay. Just in the future, at some point, we'll have to make up that variance, either by reduction of staff not filling positions or trying to increase our revenue opportunities. Just a side note, on GRT, we did receive our distribution for April, and we did receive 1,382,000 in April, so which that was still over prior year. So right now on GRT, we're trending at 12% over last year. So
Awesome. And that was up the year before, too.
yes, the year before was up, let me get that figure, was up almost 15% from the prior year. So we're still trending high. However, in cannabis, we have taken a little bit of a dive.
Big dump.
Yeah, in April, we received 19,000, and in March, we went down to 13 when we had been experiencing 25, 27,000 a month. So we have been taking a little bit of a dip. So maybe cannabis is riding out its new created, I don't know how you.
Excitement. Yeah, the
Excitement
new's
about
wearing
it.
off.
The new is
The dew's
wearing off.
falling off the lily.
Yes, there you
Yes.
go. I knew you would come up with one. Yeah.
Smoking less and driving better.
And
Yeah.
what do we just put that money into general fund?
Yep.
Yes, and so right now it's helping offset some of these operating expenditures. However, on projections, now with that new GRT amount, we're going to probably be trending at about 7.58 million left over in the general fund at the end of the year. Currently, in the budgets, we have all positions that are currently budget filled as if they start July 1st with full benefits. However, we know not everybody's going to be able to hire.
Still 9 short in utilities, right?
Yes, so in consolidated dispatch, I think we have like almost 20 and you know. So that's where a lot of our savings come from and year after year is that we budget all our positions at full benefits, but sometimes we don't always fill them. So that savings, along with the fact that a lot of departments will budget operational expenditures and don't necessarily use all that money. So that's how we keep on building our end of year cash balance each year. So just know that this isn't set in stone. You can make changes however you see fit. Also, this does not include any capital projects that are currently on and rolling. I won't know the ending balances until the end of year, and that adjustment for those rollovers will be in July. So this is all just new money. There are no grants that are currently in process. That'll be included on the rollover. If you happen to see a grant, it's because it's a brand-new grant that they know that they're getting. So what we have started out, we started to, in the presentations, you'll see the enterprise funds first, along with some people that have corresponding engagements elsewhere, so we're trying to pull them up. So in your book, you start out with not only the agenda, but it'll just give you a breakout of what, in summary, are totals for each fund for revenues, personnel, supplies, services, and capital outlay. And then it'll go through and give you a change between what the department requested and what we're currently proposing in the budget today. And then you'll go to the personnel section, and it will give you a listing by employee of the personnel schedule. Anything in green in that light green color means that that position is vacant. So as you can see, there's a lot of green on this sheet, so that's why they are currently in there, because in case they are filled during the current year. Anything?
Mr. Mayor, Judy, at one of our workshops, you said there were, when we were looking at increases in pay per position, that we had about 30 positions unfilled. Is that still the case or not?
It's up there, I'm not sure how many positions. Again, this is a snapshot as of April 19th, so if they were green and they've since been hired, it won't be reflected on this report, but I would say that's pretty close.
I would say, yes, I also agree with that, close to that.
Yeah. And after that schedule is the personnel requests. You'll see the 4 positions that were requested. And then behind that, you will actually see the actual forms that departments turned in and the reasoning why they needed the positions. And then the next section is capital outlay.
It looks like vacant is just a little over 40,
Okay.
according to this, not including the temporaries.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then capital outlay schedule, this is what the departments have requested. Again, everything that they requested is currently in the proposed budget, and then you'll see their reasoning and their documentation on what they're buying. And then it starts each individual fund and the department's requested numbers for operations. I did put a snapshot by fund of each, how many FTEs are in each department, because I know you all like to know what those are and stuff. So you'll start hearing from each department, and I believe we're going to start with Enterprise Fund, RJU, unless you want to go through the capital outlay request real quick in total.
Judy, before you do that, under the personnel, on the first page under legislative, why is Susan's listed in red?
Oh, that's because her pay doesn't cover her insurance benefits, so she has to pay out of her pocket. And in order for my spreadsheet to budget right, I had to put in what she owes in order for it to be a positive number. So that's,
So it cost you money?
it costs, yeah.
It would've cost us if we hadn't have gone on
Right.
the raise.
Yeah, because it was just kind of weird, because everybody,
Oh, I
well,
got a call. from
this side is all at the 879, that side's all at 500,
Yeah.
except for somebody, and I thought maybe
She
they
paid
just.
me under the table.
Yeah, we're working a special deal to get a
Rifle called me,
raise.
goes, I didn't think you were making the $800. I said, I'm not. And he goes, well, why is, I was like,
Yeah, because he wants his share.
no, I have to pay because we have, our grandson's in college, and so we have him on our insurance because we were the guardians of him. So,
That's a dependent, it should be covered.
oh, for God's sake.
No, it should be covered.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
he is covered.
It is, it's
But
just
her, she's
additional
making
plan.
enough to,
It's an
for us to
additional
pay the
plan, so-
insurance.
It's a family plan.
23 more dollars.
They cost more than just you or your wife.
Well, okay. So we're paying you more to pay for that?
No,
No,
she's
I'm
making up the
paying.
difference.
Making up.
She's making
Oh,
up the
you're
difference.
paying.
I have to pay
Okay.
more.
That's why it's red.
That's why it's
So you're paying the village $879 to serve.
Privilege of listening to you ramble on.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
I
Continue.
just want y'all to know, I am a servant.
Yes.
And you are serving.
I don't know, does anybody need to go, do you want to go over that? Because tomorrow morning at 7:00, we have a capital outlay meeting again. So do you want to go over the capital outlay funding, or you just want to go?
No, we can cover it in each of the funds, if that would be easier. Just know that if you want to know a little bit more detail, that there's a section that has the actual forms. If you want to see what the project entails or anything like that, it's towards the front.
And Mayor and Council, that'll be the fiscal year '24 capital outlay requests for projects for each department.
So if you're ready, we'll just
Yep.
roll on in?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll bring up RJU. Another thing to note is we usually take a conservative approach and we budget our revenues low and our expenditures high. So you'll see that consistent throughout the budget presentation on revenues today. So on revenues for RJU, this does not reflect anything that will come out of the rate study. This is just based on actual history, the revenue amounts. So we did increase revenues by a little bit.
Where are you at again?
502 RJU, Rio Dosa Joint
Okay, there you go.
Utilities. And they should be tabbed in your binder.
They are.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wasn't, I was on the wrong.
We were back a little bit. It just took us a while. to get here.
Okay. So there's a little header sheet. If you want to know how many FTEs and on what page is what department, that's included for you. When you look at revenues, we did increase the budget probably by 600,000 based on consumption and uses. So there was a little bit of an increase. However, again, whatever comes out of the rate analysis is not currently included in that. The first department, which is utility billing, is on page 81. And that department is under my supervision. And in that department are two people, the utility billing supervisor and the utility billing clerk. Right now, their operational expenditures didn't increase that much. The only thing that they had increased was some monies for some shirts. And overall, there was a reduction in overall services by $2,000. Otherwise, everything has remained consistent. In the future, once we make the change of charging for the 4% for credit cards, that merchant fee amount will go down. So there will be some anticipated savings from that. However, I wouldn't even be able to calculate what that could be. So I'm just going to leave it at that amount right now. And then during the year, if we need to reduce it, we can always reduce it later on. But in a nutshell, that is utility billing. Any questions?
Judy, under personnel, the department request was 134.8, but the proposed is 147.9.
It's because of the pay plan increase.
Okay.
So that is what you'll see
That's what we'll see going forward.
going forward.
Okay.
And also in the department request were all the positions that were requested. And then in proposed would be only the two that we are proposing. Okay, so that might be, there will be a little bit of change in group insurance also, because I had originally, I think, a 10% increase, and then it came down to the 5. And then also, the snapshot and department request was in February. And then when I snapshotted again in April, there might have been some positions that now became vacant or were filled, and the withholdings changed a little bit. So that could be some of the changes.
So would that also be in the full-time salaries between the 2021 budget and now the part of the decrease was we've reduced the number of people in that department? Or is it because we had some?
We had people at higher salaries
Because of their experience?
because of I had both the positions retired in that department this
Okay.
year. So the two new positions are entry levels,
Yeah.
a little bit over entry levels.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions? They did not ask for any capital or any additional employees. If not, we'll go ahead and move on to, is Christella on? Oh, yeah, Christella, and Department 210.
Good morning, Christella.
Maureen, how are you?
Morning.
You're up.
Whoever's going to present.
Go ahead, Randy.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, mayor, council members, manager. This is Water Production 210. We are fully staffed, and we have 11 FTEs, and we're not asking for any personnel. And what I kind of did is I gonna present kind of like the budget highlights, to some of the changes and stuff, and the decreases and increases, and explain a little bit why. Professional services, we decreased the budget by 28,000, and that's for the pay rate increase. So that's that's gonna cover the increase that we just implemented, so.
What professional services will we not be using?
Well, we always had extra money in there. We usually, were pulling, from wells, if we had well repairs and stuff like that, so.
That was not used?
We are also paying for your rate analysis,
Yes,
Let's say that again?
the rate
rate
analysis.
analysis, so.
Okay.
So, I know Judy had talked to us about reducing our budget by like 27 something, so we rounded it up to 28. So that should cover the additional increase in rates. And then the other thing is the utilities, 502, 210, 51021. We reduced that $80,000 from the 22-23 budget. One of the biggest factors is we've had a lot of water supply in Eagle Creek and the Rio Ruidoso. Therefore, we haven't had to run the wells. That's saved a lot on the electrical cost. And we're currently still not operating wells, except for when we operate them monthly, just to check them and run them for a while and make sure everything's good. So that's helped out a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. And still, the rivers are still running really good, so we're just watching our
Yep.
water accounting and all that stuff. I know.
Sure, we keep an eye on that pretty close.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Are we taking a lot of water out of Grindstone?
Well, I think yesterday was like 435 gallons from Rio Ruidoso, so,
That
But
we're
you- but-
putting into Grindstone?
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
you're,
we're
and we're
diverted.
at like 9 feet from
Yeah, it's close to 10.
close
So-
to 10. That's what it's been.
But
Yeah,
I
I
don't
did-
understand if, so
We're using water out of Grindstone?
water,
Yeah,
and
so what we're doing is we're actually taking a little more than we're bringing in. So it's reducing it just by a little bit. Say if we're bringing in 400 and something and we're taking 5, so,
Are we using more on Grindstone than we have in the past?
Yes.
yes.
Because, maybe not last year, the year before, man, that, Grindstone was full the whole time.
Well, we were able to bring in a lot of additional water too, because we're anticipating that we're going to have the Upper Canyon diversion off, when we do the rehab, so.
So I know we haven't put in the new Upper Canyon diversion, so will we be able to, if like with the water running the way it is right now, with the new diversion, would we be able to put more?
No,
No, we can only take out what our water right is amount. It's just the whole diversion purpose, if you remember, with the rain events, the deluges that we're getting so much
Right.
mud and sand and
Right.
debris in it, this new intake will be able to capture big
it'll
dumps.
be more
better.
efficient.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it won't clog and because we had some problems in the past with the debris coming in and plugging it up and we'd have to go out and clean it and then,
But one of the things when is the diversion project supposed to start?
September, I thought.
sometime, Ashley,
Because that's the
I
one
think
that
it was supposed to be this summer.
I thought it was coming up in May or June.
So we are waiting on, to get the funding from the Water Trust Board. Once we, do that, we'll go out, for bid and kind of start the process. So, it's probably starting to look now more towards.
September.
September, last
Okay.
year.
So we could still take the water that we're allowed,
Correct.
and then once we do the diversion, you'll shut that off, so there won't be any more going into Grindstone, and then you'll limit kind of what you're taking out of Grindstone and pull more from our wells in Alto and Eagle Creek.
Well, With Eagle Creek, we're basically pulling, anywhere from 800 to 1,000 gallons a minute, and then not pulling any from the wells. So,
Yeah, we'll make sure everything's supplemented.
Balance
We'll-
out.
We'll balance out and make sure everybody's, good.
like
getting water.
Ashley had mentioned before, is I guess the I&I study, once that's completed also, that we might be able to pull.
Yeah, so we did start, that process, we have started that process, kind of following up, seeing what's going on. So Chris and I met with, Casey Cook, I'm gonna say last week or 2 weeks ago, try and figure out, okay, what's everybody's responsibility, what's going on? Trying to finalize, that way we can get this process moving. This is very imperative that we get this study done. That way we can hopefully start increasing how much water we're allowed to take out again.
And then the OSC, when the new woman that came in and cut us back on our return flow credits, where are we at on that, Chris? Do you know?
We're still at the same.
That's what we need the I&I study for, so that we can prove to her that we need to go back to the original percentage. That I&I study is one of the requirements that OSC is asking for. So we haven't been able to go back to the original percentage of what we were allowed to take out. We're still at what, 35%, Ashley?
Yeah, it's
From
35.
50? And so we're waiting on everything to get tucked away with the Dorgans on that? That's what's holding us up?
No, that's, something completely different. This one is just the I&I, so pretty much we're just trying to figure out who's doing what. So we have, a couple different players in the ring, so it's more just trying to coordinate and making sure everybody's demands are being met, before we can let this plan out.
And the only reason I ask is I was a little disappointed with,
Yeah.
our flow that's
Our flows are
going
amazing
right
right
now,
now.
because it's been a long time since we've had a little bit of snow in May.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping that we could fill Grindstone, but I do know that we.
That's,
Yeah. But Randy, is it fair to say that Grindstone is pretty much all surface water?
yes.
And because we're not using the wells at all,
No.
that what's coming into Grindstone, and that's why we're drawing more out of Grindstone, so that's why we're seeing a little bit of a drop.
And the demand has picked up a little bit, so when that happens, we increase the production, so.
Right.
But the other thing is we base, the amount that we pull from, Rio Doso, it's based on 35% of the Plant 3's effluent production. So it's kind of a conservative number, but it works.
Yeah.
So we keep a real close eye on that, and then we make adjustments accordingly. Of course, when we bring in more flow to Alto, then we can increase the diversion a little bit, so.
Okay.
The guys are real good and, about monitoring and keeping a close eye on it. We go out to the diversion every day and we have it on SCADA, so we're able to monitor it very closely, so.
Sure.
And in the future, we'll be able to make adjustments automatically, so.
Right.
We won't actually have to go out there to make an adjustment. We can do it on the SCADA.
I'm not griping, I just
Oh, trust
kept
me, the
waiting
guys would
for-
love to have it full.
I know, I just kept waiting, I go out there and it's
But at least-
still 9 feet.
It looks good
At least
now,
on the
but
positive side is the amount that we're reducing it is minimum. I mean,
Yeah.
it's coming down maybe like 1/10 of a foot every so many days, and
Okay.
so.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
So the guys really would like to have it full.
thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay, the other thing is, the decrease in the fill, we decreased to $9,000. Part of this is, I think last year we upped it 10%. And then the other thing, what we're trying to do in water production is, we've got some newer vehicles. That helps out with the gas mileage. The other thing we're doing is, we're analyzing who does the most driving, and we try to give them the most efficient vehicles. And that seems to be helping, and when I do the gas report, when I look at it, I kind of keep an eye on everybody's gas mileage, and we try to get the most efficient vehicles to the people that drive the most. So I think that helps a little bit, so. The other thing is, in the laboratory expense, we decreased 8,980. The reason we had a little bit higher last year is we were purchasing new NTU meters. So all of them have been replaced at both plants, and they're the latest and greatest. And most of this stuff is because we're catching up and we're actually, doing pretty well, so. Equipment and maintenance agreement, that increased $5,000. We have a little more equipment. And the other thing is the new generator at Plant 3, we put that on a maintenance schedule. And actually, that was taken care of yesterday. Lofton Equipment came in and serviced both generators. We do it on an annual basis, and we protect our investment, and it seems to really pay off, especially for the McBride fire. We could have been SOL on that one, but the generators really kicked. They ran for 3.5, 4 days straight. So,
And that's in your grindstone maintenance, the 10 grand?
yeah, it's in the equipment, let me see. It's in the equipment and maintenance agreements.
It's on the next page, 52102.
502, 210, 52102.
Yep.
Oh,
And then the next one is vehicle maintenance. That's actually, we're actually, I forgot what we did on that. I think we dropped it some also.
4 grand, well, last year it was
18.
18.
This year, you're looking at 14.
Yeah, so we dropped it.
But you got some new vehicles this year.
Yeah, we were able to get one truck, so.
Yeah, but looking back in previous years, you've never used what was budgeted.
The other thing with our department, it's kind of interesting because we, sometimes on some of the line items, we have to budget a little bit over because certain things happen in our field that, we try to make sure we have them covered. If a well goes down or something like that, or pumps. So we try to, go a little bit over just in case,
Yeah, no, I understand that you just never know what's going to happen, but I'm.
Yeah, it's kind of
looking-
tricky on some of these line items.
Yeah, but looking based on the last 3 years, on most of the line items, it looks like there's a great potential for savings by the end of the year. Randy, the one, before you get past this page.
Sure.
PILT, payment in lieu of taxes, year-to-date activity is like $86,000, but it was budgeted at $18,750. Do you have any idea what the heck is that?
So I believe what happened, okay, so PILT is by ordinance, they have to pay us a PILT, like if they were in business themselves, they would
Right.
pay property taxes. So what happens is at the beginning of the year, it's based on their net fixed assets.
Okay.
And so at the beginning of the year, my audit is never able to be released or done. So usually during the year, when their new fixed asset amounts come in, then it changed. This past fiscal year, a lot of projects in SGRT that affect his water production portion were completed in SGRT, and therefore the value of their fixed assets went up. So that's why it's up higher.
The value of the assets went up, what, between 3.5 and 4 times?
Yeah, well, you finish Alto Plant 3.
We did all
which
those
is the 3 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
it
then-
costs money to
I'm
put
looking, it
up.
was 24.
And that was like a 3-year
Million.
project, 2-year project?
Almost two.
Almost 2-year project,
We
so
invested how many millions, 4 or 5?
3 point something.
Yeah.
Five.
Holy cow.
So
Okay.
that, you pay for that improvement. Can we back up just one page, just simple questions? I was like on your, training and development budget's gone up. Is that just you're attending more classes or?
What we're doing there is, instead of actually trying to go out, and travel, we're trying to do more online courses. And,
So traveling schools is up too.
Is it, I thought that decreased.
It did by
decreased.
1,000.
Oh, it did
Yeah.
decrease. Well, your year-to-date activity, did come down 1,000.
Yeah.
So you're gonna try to do more online?
And that's kind of what we've been doing, with the COVID, kind of changed things, so instead of traveling, that was kind of suspended there for a while. We did a lot of online training. And there's a lot of classes and it makes a lot of sense to me because you don't have to travel, you can do it, even at work. The guys, we can set them up on a computer and do the training, and it just saves a lot of money,
Sure, I can see that. As long as
and
it's-
that's kind of what we've been
As
doing.
long as it's quality stuff.
Yeah, there's some really good courses out there. I've taken a 10-hour water production course, and of course, they make you take tests and, on each chapter, and then you have a final, so. they make
What
you pay
about
attention.
uniform and laundry expense on the previous page? I failed to get that question in.
Okay, let's see.
Is it just on laundry expenses? Tell me how your uniforms work again.
Yeah, what we do is we provide the operators with 11 uniforms. And it's a shirt and pants, and then they're laundered, weekly. So the reason we have 11 is it, covers the week, and then a lot of
Sure.
times they'll forget to bring them, or they end up somewhere else, so we get shorted some weeks. But that's what we do with the guys. It's based on 10 employees.
Well, has their fees gone up? I was just wondering,
Yes.
how's your contract? Because usually you sign like 3-year contracts on those.
Yeah, it's
Are we, that's what I was gonna ask Judy, is if we're village-wide on all uniform services, did we ever get that streamlined? Because there for a while, we had different ones.
Currently, we have not been able to come to consensus of what the uniform should be because some departments want different uniforms, but that would be one of our new goals for this new fiscal year. Now that I have a purchasing agent and a capital projects person who has extensive procurement experience, I think between the two, they could probably
Can narrow it
wrangly
down and figure it out.
figure it out, yeah.
Okay, because we've been talking about that for some time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the other thing we have it set up is, like Karen and myself, we have shirts, and so we buy them outright. And I think she has it budgeted for $100 on each, and sometimes we use it.
$100 for a shirt?
No, they're
No.
each individual.
Yeah, I mean, we might get a couple shirts a year.
Holy cow.
When I lost weight, I was able to get back into these shirts, so that saved us a lot of money too, so.
It's always thinking.
Yeah.
That's good. I was just curious because that's always been a
Well-
little peeve of mine is that those companies are expensive.
Sure.
And you get locked into 3 years and then we never are able to get them in sync and we have multiples. So if we can just standardize that.
The other thing we put in there this year was, it's $600. The issue we are having, and it's probably common with most departments, people need to change their uniform. They gain weight, and so they have to go up in size. And the way they have it set up right now, I think it's every 2 years you can get full replacement. And it has a tag on each uniform that's kind of like a date stamped on it. So they keep an eye on that, and once it hits 2 years, they go ahead and replace like 2 or 3 at a time. So, but the issue we've had a couple times is the guys gain weight and they need to go up a size.
Well, that's because you're doing online training.
Well, the solution is stretchy pants.
That too. But
Well, those yoga pants, they're a favorite of mine.
Well, no, I brought that up.
Camouflage,
I
so.
did ask that,
Medically speaking, I think exercise more, eat less might work just as well. But-
decrease your caloric intake. and then-
Yeah.
But again, uniform and laundry expense, that's one of those that over the past 3 years is every year you spent less than was budgeted. So even increasing it to 6,000, if history follows, you won't spend $6,000.
Yeah, and I know a couple times we've run close on some items, and the other thing is, I think one year we weren't fully staffed, but now we are. I think we went 5, 6 years without a turnover, and then when Gary retired, then we changed a few people, but most of the time, we've been pretty consistent on staff levels, so.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's, why don't we launder our own clothes?
At home?
Yeah.
Well, that's the age-old question. Ron, do you have a good answer for that?
Well, Mayor Crawford, Councilor Lutterman, I know for the wastewater treatment plant, they get
Chemicals.
chemicals and they get,
Yeah,
you know, the
I know
sewage
P&M
and
made Tom
whatnot.
wash his woolly clothes in your in your washing machine, right?
No.
Oh, see, there you go.
But that's,
That's the point.
yes.
We had looked at that option also, because it would be a reduction in cost, if we did it that way. But the other negative is not everybody's gonna launder them correctly
Yeah, I know.
and some are gonna be.
I'm not complaining, I was just.
No, we
Just,
definitely looked at that option and I think I even talked to Judy about it.
Wrinkle shirts.
Yeah,
And, like,
and then,
for-
the nice thing about it is they come to us
I know.
all clean and.
Well, you remember the one employee that refused to wear deodorant, remember? You remember those discussions? Okay.
I don't
Well, it was
remember that.
imperative that his was washed thoroughly.
So so with the firemen and the police
He
officers?
just didn't believe in aluminum in his underarm stuff.
So do they take them to the cleaners and we pay
No,
for that?
no, they
They
come by
come-
and pick them up.
Yeah, they pick them up
Police and
every
fire,
Tuesday.
no.
No, what do we do with there?
Well, police is on their own, and fire, they
Oh.
wash their bunker gear and that kind of stuff at the
At
fire
the
station. I don't want to steal your thunder, chief, but because they,
Our bunker gear, we're in the process of doing it, we wash them up by hose, but we are getting an extractor going in that actually washes them. But we have to send them off a couple times a year for inspection and the proper cleaning as well, so they gotta be shipped off. In our regular uniforms, we get a uniform allowance, so we can buy so much a year
Okay,
is what we get, and then so we get them dirty, soil, blood on them, we gotta get rid of the uniforms.
oh, you just get rid of them?
If they get stained.
Stained or bloody.
Stained.
Okay.
See, our problem is they'll get spills, with chlorine
Sure.
and stuff like that, so, we're trying to make sure they have the proper PPE and stuff when they transfer chlorine, so.
But a chlorine spill, there's no way to clean it.
No,
No,
gonna
it's,
crash your shirt.
you're changing colors.
But back to the cleaning part of it, I don't know, in my mind, there's certain departments that, yeah, you don't want to take it home and wash it.
No.
But then
Especially
other
wastewater.
departments, like my shirts from work, I wash them. I'm not
That's
dealing
what I
with
do.
feces and stuff like that, but, if you've got bloodborne pathogens or fecal matter and stuff like that, yeah, you don't want to take that home. Other departments.
And they just put it, when they're at their shop, they bring them in a bag, and then the company comes and picks them up. I just was
Got
saying if we could consolidate companies, contracts, get them all in the same system, and then we could push a little more on, they need, I understand they need there's nothing better than seeing one of our guys in a too tight a shirt, riches.
yeah, the plumber, Rich.
Well, it might be said too, that commercial laundries do a whole different process for cleaning than you would.
It is.
Put Tide in the washing machine and throw the shirt in there.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Or
Okay,
any other cleanser, I don't want to be prescriptive.
Equipment, vehicles, that's 502-210-53-001. We have a decrease of 162,255. Of course, we were, asking for less equipment, this year and then going on to project construction, that's decreased $306,478. Lower dollar amount on projects that we've got for this year. Plus, a lot of them we've already tackled. We had a lot of projects and we did a lot of stuff in-house, which really saves a lot of money and helps out on keeping the costs down.
So now, I'm showing on capital, I'm sorry, Randy, I must, have you already hit the equipment and vehicles?
Just now,
That's an increase, right?
no,
Oh, the
equipment, yeah, it's 162,255.
I I'm still not seeing
Let
that.
me see.
Are you looking for what he's asking for in capital outlay?
Yeah.
So if you go back to the schedule on capital outlay, if you go to 50210, it'll list out everything
Got it.
that
Thank
he's
you.
asking for. It starts out with a vehicle,
Yeah, just one.
plant floor coating, meter replacement at Two Rivers and A1 well, the Alto Pump House, plant floor office, and the grindstone.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was gonna cover next. I was gonna
I'm
break
sorry,
down,
okay.
each, yeah,
Okay,
because the Alto Pump House is 10,000. Meter replacement at Two Rivers Pump and A1 is, 25,000. These are probably slightly elevated prices because we're trying to anticipate the potential increase in the cost and, on items. And the Alto Crest pipe and Clearwell floor coating, that's 20,000. And then, plant floor coating in the Clearwell inside the plant area, lab and office, roughly 20,000. And, then the last one was, the office for myself, 50,000.
Randy, on those, on the Clearwell and doing the coding, are you looking to hire somebody to do that? A contractor? Or are you gonna do it?
We've actually did it. in-house.
Self-perform.
What we did is, we started off with, Plan 3, and we did the whole floor. And what we did is, we had a good process, and the guys did their homework. And for one thing, the guys that we have some pretty good talent. The nice thing about it is each one has their own strengths. Some are real good at building things, pipe fitters, everything. So we're able to do a lot of stuff in-house. For an example, yesterday, at Plan 3, we pulled pump number 1 out, and it's quite a process, and we had a brand-new one set up, and we probably saved over 10,000, $8,000 to 10,000 bucks doing it in-house. So I mean, the other nice thing is we had the crane installed on the Plan 3 project, so it made the job real easy, so. But what we did, getting back to Plan 3 on the floor, we did a full coating, and you probably saw one when you guys came over there for the open house. What a difference. And then we're in the process now of putting in a second coating on it. But it's got the sand mixture in it, so it creates a texture, so prevention of slipping and falling, and, especially when the floor gets wet. So, and it makes it look real good. But the guys did their homework on how to strip it and prep it, so we put a lot of time in the preparation. And then when we do the application, it goes pretty well.
sounds good.
And, we've already completed a piping project, and over at Plan 4, they stripped it, all the piping, and did a really nice job on it. Everything's coded to the correct code or the color, and it's all labeled and flow direction arrows and everything. It's coming along really well, so.
So Randy, on the truck, you requested 68.4, but the proposed is 54,490. So
I did that, so I wanted to see if you would catch that.
Yeah.
So, so what
down in a truck?
So what, I can answer that. So what we did is, at first, we budgeted high, and then when I actually got the quotes and everything that came from Tillery, what they have in stock right now, then when I did the B2, I adjusted that, so it's actually a reduction.
Okay, I didn't know if you went from like a 1 ton down to
Oh, no.
3/4 or something like that.
No, and it's basically, what we have is, it's a 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 four-wheel drive Crew LT, so.
Okay.
And one thing I wanted to say, if you look at the overall picture from 2022-23 budget to this budget, it's a reduction of $516,093. So with all going up and down, we reduced it.
But that budget includes rollovers and outlay
Yep.
that he may or may not purchase, so just
So-
keep that in mind.
But that, it's It's a positive thing,
Yeah, no, it is.
so.
So you don't just cut to that right away, see?
I was going
done
to,
away
but
with
I
all
wanted
this
to,
stuff.
I wanted to build up the suspense.
We had been like this.
And, that's my closer.
Okay.
The only other thing is we put in for a backhoe lease of $149,000. The monthly payments come out to $3,067.45. It's a 5-year lease, $700 delivery charge. And I spoke with Ron and Judy about it. Because what we're doing right now is we're at the end of our 4-year lease on our backhoe. So we kind of looked at everything, the pros and cons, and so,
You turn that one in and now you get the new one.
correct.
Yeah, that's.
The positive thing is, our payments go up a little bit, but the nice thing is the maintenance and everything is covered and you're protected. And I'm telling you, in the 4 years, we had a lot of work done on that backhoe, so.
Well, and reliability.
Yeah.
Downtime, because.
Exactly.
And the nice thing about it is,
For a
Cat-
couple of months.
Cat has a guy that comes up here Monday through Friday, Buddy, and he services all of Ruidoso, so he's up here all week. And then he goes home on the weekend. So that's a big asset, and we became pretty good friends,
I don't doubt it.
so.
Yep.
But that's basically what I have in a nutshell. I just kind of wanted to highlight the certain items.
Okay, any questions? Randy? No.
Good job.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Your presentations are getting better, Randy. They're even almost entertaining. So I appreciate that. You got rid of that stupid Minnesota hat.
Well, yeah, I changed that
Even
up.
got Coughlin on a low
Well,
blow, so
You know what else I did? Is,
you
I
cheated,
No, I prep.
prepped.
What I do is I put a council presentation with my bullets.
Awesome.
Keeps me on track and it's easier to,
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Yeah.
Just
I think it's
remember,
good.
have a good comeback for me and you get points with the mayor.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
See, I was even ready for it. Yeah, so.
Thank you, Randy.
We have to stay around there. Can we-
RJU admin?
RJU admin.
Morning, Mayor, morning, council, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Good.
Since this is my first year with budgeting, what I did was kind of looked at the historical expenditures for the program and tried to budget based off that. But I also wanted to start looking at how we're going to include water distribution in some of our expenditures. I think that side of the house has been neglected, so I wanted to work with Adam on including some of his expenditures in this budget. So you'll see that there's some increases in different areas, and that's because I know that I'm going to have to cover some of the expenditures that come through that program because of the increases in personnel. So that's how I budgeted this administrative expenses for this year. You'll see that there's going to be some increases in the capital section, and that's for projects that will benefit both the water resource side and water production and distribution, water distribution. And then I also requested a vehicle to replace Ashley's because hers is in non-working order. But I just wanted to open the floor and see if you had any questions or if you wanted to go through each of the lines one by one for an explanation.
We're on water production.
Yep.
Thank you.
Joint utilities.
RJU admin. You're on page 86.
Perfect.
Okay, did y'all just peruse them, or is there any highlights that you want to point out?
Well, professional services went down quite a bit over what it was budgeted for the current year.
Well, I think that was because I have some different definition of what I think professional services versus what Eric thought it was. If you look into the contractual line item, you should be able to see that I put most of those in that area. Under 522000, you'll see that the water rights audit, hydrological services, monitoring, for JSAI and watershed monitoring are included there.
But even that line item went down $40,000.
Well, I didn't see that they were expending it out. I was trying to make it so that the expenditures that we budgeted this year were more realistic about compared to what we actually spent. I know that I saw in this budget that there were quite a bit of line items that had money left over, and I wanted to move that money around into different areas like the project line items.
Got it, okay.
Oh, and this is Jackson on line item 53-6 under capital projects and
Yes.
construction at 800K. Could you elucidate a little on that? Proposed.
Sure. I don't know if you have the capital project requests in front of you. I can kind of go over what I'm proposing.
It's a little past midway of the page. If you look on this sheet, all her capital projects would be on right here.
On there.
It's
Oh,
the-
I see it.
Do you see it?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. Well, I'll save some time. That defines it. Thank you.
Okay.
That's the Vector lease and all of that.
The section right above it.
It's,
Oh,
SUV,
SUV
grade
repair.
stabilization,
Got it,
repairs
got
of
it.
water
Plate
plant
one.
one.
Thank you, yes.
Manhole replacement, all of that.
Yes.
I just saw a big jump, that's why I was.
Okay. And I'll be glad to explain any of the projects if you like additional detail.
I'm gonna take that out.
On the money for, on the lift stations over off the Stinson property, where's the money that we're proposing to pay AUI for the facade and all that?
Mayor, I can answer that if that's okay.
Oh, there you are.
Wow, you really changed.
I was like, when did I miss that coming in?
How did you
Golly, it just slid in. I didn't even see him come in.
You should have seen his face.
Well, I'm telling you, I could see him chasing a $100 bill and not even seeing him. Okay, go ahead.
So as far as the facade and the culvert removal is actually going to come out of my existing budget.
Out of your existing budget,
And
okay.
it's
so
already,
it's-
we've already issued appeal for the culvert
Okay.
to AUI.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, and now that Adam's joined, like I said, the overall intent of this budget was to look at what was spent previously. Because I don't have experience with the whole year of managing this program, I wanted to kind of look at the history and how Eric managed it, but I also wanted to start looking at a different direction and include water distribution and sewer collection as part of the expenditures for this budget, because I know that they don't have a lot of extra money for some of these projects. So Adam and I are trying to work a little bit closer to include some of his expenditures in this area. So you'll see there's money in contingency, and that's also, he and I will work together on some of the projects that'll come out of there. If he has some expenses that he didn't plan on. So I plan to make this kind of a fluid budget so that it works for all parts of the program.
Hey, Chris, what kind of shop tools does admin use?
It's not for me, actually. I put it in for Adam. I don't have any needs for any shop tools. And I don't know if he's gonna need it or not.
So anything that is expended for water distribution, we need to put in the 502-220. That way
Okay.
you'll have a historical and accurate figure on what they actually use. So if you do have any funds that should be in 220, get with me and we can adjust those before we do the final budget.
Okay, does that include the capital project as well?
Yes.
Okay, I can do that.
So on non-cap furniture, fixture, and equipment, are you buying for somebody else as well?
No, I just thought, we have a new employee that's hopefully supposed to come on, and we are hoping to get, some furniture also for the conference room and library area, so that we can start categorizing some of our reference documents, and that we need a desk and those kind of things.
Okay.
currently in this department, there's 4 FTEs and 1 is vacant.
What's the insurance proposed? The 43.9 on page 86 down towards the bottom.
52010.
Insurance and bonds.
That's just the portion that they pay to municipal league for insurance.
Wow.
I take all the insurance and divide it between the enterprise funds and the general fund.
Okay, so that's something new.
So,
I see it in years past, that's why I was asking. So that's,
I might have made a mistake and was supposed to put it in 210 or 220, and I put it in the wrong department.
I just didn't know if it, if it was.
I'll double check that one.
duplicated on the RJU, if that's all of it.
Usually, we pay it out of 210 and 220, but I might have put
Okay.
the wrong account number. I'll double check those before final.
And then regulatory compliance, a couple of lines down from that. 45,000.
I put some funding in there. I know that we are currently renegotiating our agreement with the Forest Service for the North Fork well. And there's a component in there that's going to require some monitoring. We don't know how much it's going to cost. It's part of the agreement that we're supposed to do every 3 years. So I kind of just did a ballpark figure. I don't know what the exact amount's going to be.
Is that where we do it all through the instrumentation that we have to purchase? Is that right, Ashley?
So, what Chris is referring to is with the USGS, they go out, they do, stream gradient studies, along the Eagle Creek to make sure we're in compliance. And so that is requirement of the record of
So
decision.
they did the study and then we pay them?
Correct.
Okay. I knew it was kind of
We
squirrely.
haven't paid that in the past?
We have.
We did do one, it was for it started off with the 5 years, and then from my understanding, it went into 3 years, so what I'm doing right now is going through the record of decision, and I'm also reaching out to the USGS, personnel, so we can get that coordinated.
Okay, just because there's no expense going all the way back to the 2021 budget.
Yep, and that's, when the last one was,
The
so
last
then
one,
we'll do
okay.
one in, the 3 year time.
Got it.
And that's different from what we pay for the gauge stations.
Oh, it's an addition to.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Oh, I see the gauging stations on the next page.
Mayor, so on the, on this Joint Utilities Administration, is that Chris and Adam and
And Ashley?
Okay,
And then one more position.
and
Huh?
what?
And one more. I can't remember what the title is of the other position.
Water resource specialist.
Yeah, which is, Chris.
It's vacant right now.
The water
So
resource
Isaac
specialist
doesn't-
is vacant?
So she's
Yes.
the resource director.
Oh, yeah.
Water resource manager, and then this person would be under me.
Yeah.
Kind of like a role you used to have.
So
Yeah.
Isaac
Actually,
is-
yes.
No,
No, well, Isaac is in the RJU, but he's
He's
part
in
of the separate, it
the
is
treatment
the,
plant.
Okay,
the JUB,
okay,
but he still works with Adam.
right, okay.
It's, because he does the collection, all the water, sewer, and down there, but it's still,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah. And the Forest Service compliance stuff might be getting fun with all new leadership in the Forest Service.
With a new due.
Travis
Say
is
that
gone.
again? Travis is gone.
Yeah. Travis got a job doing HR something. Beth just went to his retirement party, but he's still with the Forest Service.
Yeah, we just met with We just met with the Forest Service last week, so they seemed pretty happy with what we proposed to them. Same as last year, we're actually gonna end up bringing this to council, for the May. Everybody seemed like they were happy with what we've done in the past, and, so they're gonna review it one more time and make sure they don't have any questions for us before
Do
moving.
we know who's gonna replace Travis?
Yes, it's a woman that came from, oh shoot, I can't remember. Beth was telling me last night. There's a woman in there right now on
Temporary, she was saying
basis.
she wasn't gonna be here.
No, she's gonna be there temporary, and there's already somebody else who's finishing up another duty that's gonna come in and be the permanent supervisor. I can ask her.
Okay.
Thank you.
from one of the forests that she used to work at, so.
One of the forests.
Okay.
Any other questions? Then we'll go ahead and move on to 220.
Mr. Adam, he's been out all night long, so.
Oh,
And from one
Yeah,
night.
yeah. You get no pity.
He's been laying in bed on his phone barking orders to the guys. Did you get the water back on?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to take a shower this morning, so.
The RJU building is done and there's a brand new shower in there.
Is there?
And you get a new uniform.
You're gonna have to suffer, Doc.
You know, I will say, take a little bit of a chance here. In that area, just like a lot of other areas, when you guys fix something, something else pops up. And stuff happens, and I appreciate the fact that everybody was out there working all night long and the previous day on another leak. So being without water for a few hours is no big deal.
I appreciate that.
So. I happen to have some bottled water, so that's how I brush my teeth and.
It is a big,
You can stop at any time. I mean, it's, it is,
he had a spritzer and a Navy.
yeah. We call it something else, but.
Okay, Mayor, Council, it's kind of straightforward as far as the operating piece of this, of the 220 budget. I did look back on some of the contingencies that we used this last year and kind of added into some of my operating budget. But other than that, one of the highlights on here would be there's a $30,000, let me find it here.
Standby pay, and then you had a reduction in overtime salaries. How's that gonna work?
so what happened this year, they were trending at a lot of overtime. And so the budget that they were projecting was at those same levels, but the overtime was driven by the fact that they didn't have people in their vacancies. So that's why I reduced it, hoping that with the new pay rate increase and everything, we would be able to attract and fill those positions, because at April 19th, out of his 21 positions, he still had 5 vacant.
5 vacant.
So that's why it was reduced a little bit. Same situation, and if that doesn't pan out and he doesn't fill those vacancies, he'll have that saving to offset the overtime that the current people are working and stuff, so.
So I've gone through that before where I was working for a company, a lot of overtime, and some people were happy to finally get rid of the overtime because we got fully staffed, and other people were upset because they were losing money. Do you know how
It's not gonna.
they're gonna be happy to spend more time at home?
No, well, not only that, but we'll have, for instance, last night, as short staffed as we are, it gives people a break. We can actually give them a little bit of rest. So, when we're fully staffed, we still had all the overtime, we just had, we could spread it out.
Right.
And Adam, I'd agree that being awake doesn't mean you're alert, especially when you're real tired.
Exactly. So, one of the highlights is the building improvements. I had $30,000 in there. This $30,000 is for, not the new RJU building, but the other one that we're looking at the convenience station on.
Yeah, so was that just getting electrical or plumbing or what?
Both.
Both?
I have a PO for LeMay right now. He has, set the meter, waiting for P&M to tie in, but, there's no electrical inside the building. So that is for the electrical inside the building, and then, we'd like to put like a bathroom or something in there. We're gonna keep it simple. That building's gonna be kind of storage / work out of. So, just to have some fencing and stuff around there.
That's the building that's already up there.
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
That we purchased
Right.
from Ford.
yeah.
So that's where that $30,000 is. There is $10,000 in, just general maintenance for the buildings, just to upkeep, for our new building if anything happens or anything else like that. The other, highlight is the sewer line extensions. We have the, don't see anything in it. I guess we're just rolling that over. It's 78,000, 348.68. And then I think the lift stations are actually on here under, yes. Yeah, so those are for, the Guinevere lift station, rehab, and the control panels for Thrill Hill lift station and White Mountain.
Where is that? Lift station.
Yeah, 53006.
Got it.
That does include, Camelot.
Yes.
That is their lift station.
Adam, like, we are having a lot of water leaks and everything, so where does that come out of in your budget?
Repairs and distribution, for water. There's two line items. There's one for sewer and one for water. I think the water has,
That's-
200,000. I
Yeah.
think the sewer has 100,000 in there.
Okay, yes, I see it. Okay.
Judy, question for you on the capital outlay schedule for them. The Vector lease and the backhoe lease, you've got a per month figure in there, but that doesn't compute to the proposed amount. Is there multiple leases?
There is, actually, there's, I'm sorry. Under lease, I think, let me see how we did it on here. Yeah, the copier's on the actual lease agreement also,
And, I'm not sure what else you.
That's just-
You lease.
just the copier. It's the copier, and then we'll do the backhoe and the Vector.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
So on Wagner, they don't bill on a monthly basis, they bill on a 28-day cycle, so you have to calculate 13 payments per year.
That still doesn't calculate. If you take 12,500 and you've got 351,674, that just doesn't work.
That's the figure that, Wagner gave you on your outlay sheets. The 351, is that what, if you bought it out?
No, 351 is, yeah, the full amount.
If you would buy out
Yeah.
the lease?
Are you looking at,
Because what would
water
happen at the end of the lease, they would have a balloon payment if we were gonna buy it out.
How long,
I'm not sure how they calculate your lease
No, I
figure.
have it here with me.
is it a one-year lease or how long's the
No,
lease?
it's a 5-year lease.
Okay, because
If you look at the sheet,
that 351,674 with a monthly payment of 12,005 would be 28 months. And I went to public school, but it was 12 months. That was what I was taught.
if you look on their capital outlay sheet,
Okay.
which is behind, I didn't number these,
No,
so it's kind of towards the end, because they're in order of where they're on the schedule, so it's kind of towards the back, it has yellow on it. Those are the figures that they gave us.
oh, yeah.
there it is.
I have 2,432 and 12,500.
This is for a yearly, I believe, on this, Judy.
Yeah, so the 351 is the amount that you're leasing. That's the total lease amount. So that shouldn't be there on the schedule. Because that's based over 5 years.
Yeah, and I think the,
Oh, I see, I know what I did, I should have put the year and not the
Yeah.
value, I got
Yeah.
it. I know what you're saying.
On
Yeah, I'll
both-
make that change,
On both of those.
yeah, I'll make that change.
Okay. So that gives you more money. You're welcome.
buy more equipment.
I'll take 10%.
Finder's fee?
Yeah, exactly.
So Adam, just a question, as the mayor stated earlier, was asking on uniforms. Do you have are you utilizing a different company than Water Production on the uniforms?
I believe it's the same one.
You using the same one? And then you do the same process with
Yeah, they come every Tuesday. The guys get 11 pants, 11 shirts.
Okay.
I don't think he was in here when we asked that. No. Just trying to get it where everybody had the same.
Company, same schedule, so.
We can maybe save some,
Contracts.
yeah,
Coming up at the same time and all that.
so.
Yeah, I think the only one that was different at one time was solid waste, but I think everybody's with American Linen now. If I
And then Judy, with Adam's budget, the PILT, last year, well, the year-to-date activity is 50,731, but we're proposing 21,800. Are they getting rid of assets?
He doesn't have any additions, so it's just on depreciation on his assets, that's what it's going down.
There's that much depreciation? Because the year before was 10,700, and then 50,007, and then down to 21,800. So you've lost half the value, more than half the value.
Which is what.
In 1 year?
What all the water leaks tell us is that his infrastructure's old, and so that's why its value is going down so much.
Wow, okay.
World.
I think that's why in the master plan, I think just for you, they're recommending like $35 million of improvements over the next
Oh, yeah.
3 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, we saw that.
I don't know, it's still a shock. I'm
Well, that's like the geo bond that we have, $3 million. When we first started that, $3 million was worth a lot more than $3 million now.
Absolutely.
So we almost need to look at making some changes to that next time it comes up.
And, another thing with that, counselors, back in the day when we were doing the GeoBond stuff, we were just doing water lines.
Right.
We weren't looking at the bigger picture of, the sewers and the roads and all that other stuff, so you're tearing it up multiple times.
Right.
But yes, even the water, for Pine Cliff is triple what it was back then.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have is, I did put a contingency in my budget, just like I did last year, just for unforeseens of $150,000.
Are you getting any applications?
We've had 2 interviews. One of them didn't pan out, and the other one didn't show up.
So not a surprise.
Fingers crossed.
Can't tell you how many times I've been ghosted.
Any other questions or additional information needed?
And Judy, so the first page, we talked about revenues coming in. And then we talked about the expenses for the various parts in this. Is there, on page 89, it's showing a deficit. Is that a true deficit with expenses versus revenues or some?
Yes.
So we're going to be running that utility at a deficit of 2.4 million,
Yes, if you go back to the front section of the binder,
right?
you'll see that, if you look on the second page, the utility fund is that light blue. Right now, their deficit is at 2,400,000. And their outlay is at 1.3. So of that deficit, in order to cover operations, you're running a deficit of 1.1 million. But again, we know that something's gonna happen with their utility rate analysis, and that deficit might become shorter if we have to do an increase. So
Yeah, but even the analysis, they didn't show anything for next year.
Correct.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering if we need to think about something for the next budget year.
Well, I didn't like the way they had it.
No. But we suspended that $17.
Yep.
Which
On the
was
bill?
ridiculous.
Which, you know, at the time, that made sense.
Yes.
Why, but it may be something
Well,
that
now
we
that
need
instead of the payout, they're saying we don't pay it off, because if we have to borrow money, the interest would offset the whole purpose of us paying off the funds we set aside to pay off the
Right.
plant.
Right.
And if we are gonna not pay off, then I need to know real quick, because within the next couple of weeks, I need to, notify our bondholders of our intent to pay them off or not.
Are we gonna talk about that in
Oh,
May?
yeah, we're gonna have to talk about it, because we,
Because I mean, I have some deep reservations about what they presented.
Oh, yeah. But there's gonna have to be something to make up for that. We can't keep running at a loss. But instead of waiting so long
Yeah.
and then having a big makeup there, because what they were proposing was just over a couple of years, this big increase.
Yeah.
If we
But he
start
told
making
me,
that up
he
now,
said,
that
but
lessens it.
that's why, but you need the equipment now, which I know that
Right.
our infrastructure is in terrible shape, but, man, that was a big increase over those.
everything.
On those last 2 years.
Water.
I mean, not 24, but 25 and 26 was
Yep.
big.
I'd like to start talking about something starting in July, not necessarily making up the complete deficit, but
Offsetting.
doing something to offset it. Because it makes no sense if you're running at a deficit now, next year's gonna be another deficit, and
What
then we're
about
not
taking
talking.
it to the taxpayers?
Well, it's a,
we imposed the rate.
it.
So what are you
it's a
trying
rate.
to say to pay what? I mean, it's just a rate. That's an enterprise fund that we're establishing
Got it.
off of what it actually costs to operate it.
Got it?
And so we've had a drastic change just in the last couple of years.
In Mayor and Council, when we did the rate study back in 2013, and then we did adjust the rates 2014 only on the water. At the time, the sewer was supplementing the water.
Yep.
And then whenever we increased the water, now the water supplementing the sewer rate,
Yep.
sewer revenue, so.
And that's why I think we'll have to propose having a contract with either Sauter Miller or somebody to keep up the rate analysis so that a review each year keeps on going, so that you're not in a situation where now all of a sudden you're doing a big increase. I think somebody's gonna have to monitor that, and on my staff, and I don't know about Chris's staff, I don't think we have the time to keep that up and running to make sure that we're running close. So that's why we might want to look into a contract for somebody to keep it up so that we know of those changes coming up and not to wait 10 years. Keep that rolling every year, plus a review of the plan and the rate every 5 years.
Yeah, that, to
And
me,
then we
that would be a
chose
lot better.
to hold the CPI because we've done
Yes.
so well with GRT.
Yes.
And everybody else was getting hammered by P&M.
Right.
Zia, gas, and inflation and everything, but the village had overall done extremely well. So remember, we put a stay on
Yes.
that,
Because
so.
at the time, it was, what, 9.5%?
9,
9.5%.
Yes.
and we did 2.2.
We did 2.2, so
But
all those things that we've done for cost-saving measures and to lessen the impact on the citizens is just gonna kick us in the head, so.
Yeah, it is, because they're not gonna remember that.
No, they
All
don't.
they're gonna look at is, you've doubled my bill.
And so I agree, we're gonna have to make changes soon, stair-step them all the way.
Didn't they say something about in July?
Of next year.
No, it
No,
was,
of next year.
Next year, following year.
Well, they are, you know, when we had that talk with them, they are gonna bring a proposal of maybe implementing like a 10% in July to give us a scenario of what that would look like instead of like, say, with the solid waste, I mean, the
40%.
sewer plant, 40, 40, 40, and then 5, 5, 5. And I think at Forest Food is 55, and There was a couple others that were 30, 30, 30, something of that nature. But trying to at least slow it, make the jumps not quite so drastic each year.
Right.
But we'd have to do it in July is what they're saying,
Right.
what Judy was saying.
And that makes
And
sense.
we'd have to start looking at that immediately.
I mean, if they're saying 10%, that's less than the $17
Yeah.
that we removed. Put the $17 back on, and that brings in more revenues to help shore things up.
Well, just to look at 10, we can always decide to try to go 15 the first year, if that makes more sense. But you hit them with the 40.
And then we were looking at the JUB balance that we have for the wastewater treatment plant, that we're getting ready to do some major improvements on the head works, and then also changing out the screens and all of that stuff. Because that plan is now, how,
It was open, 2011 is when it was, became
13 years
operational.
old.
Do we have the money?
Oh, yeah, we got the
the
money and the JUB and all that set up, so that's what I wanted, is a whole evaluation. Because at one time, we were looking like, well, we could save the citizens by cutting down on their wastewater treatment percentage of your water bill. And then with all these things that we're working at, because we were thinking we were doing really good, and then all of a sudden we were under some, we had those manhole covers that popped, we had a lot of I&I going in, and then we've had something that's stuck to these filters that we're doing the turnarounds, which we're paying for a company to come out next week to help our guys get caught up, because they're working around the clock. So we were looking at all those things, but I'd really like to look at the balances, what it's gonna take, because the Downs just adds it to their monthly, they add it to their annual property tax.
The other thing we have to take into consideration, I know they are telling us not to pay off the debt, but the $8 million that we would save probably wouldn't even fund 2 or 3 years of the improvements that they're proposing. So you're gonna have to borrow money anyways. So I don't know if that is, to do some savings for 1 or 2 years and still have to go out. I mean, it just depends on the approach
Well,
we're
and they're
gonna
saying
take.
they're going up 25 more basis points
Yeah.
next week anyway at the Fed, so that's just gonna drive that up. And I don't see that bank's coming down anytime soon. So even with our good rating and everything that we've had, we've been very fortunate the last 7, 8 years.
And I know they had proposed like 10 or 20% of grants through USDA and who else for a treatment plant?
New Mexico Finance Authority.
Finance Authority too,
just-
and those
there's
are
other
pretty low rates.
Yep.
Those are maxed out at, I think, 3%.
Well, we need to have a serious discussion
Discussion.
on that, because we had told everybody what we were doing, and we talked about it for months before we did it, and then to just take it back
Right,
Yep.
yes.
seems kind of stupid
Exactly.
on our part.
And we got to remember at the time that we made this decision, that was the information that we had, and we made the best decision that we could with the information we had. Now that they're looking, which is, how many months later, of course.
Well, and there's nothing wrong when you get fresh information.
Yes.
Before you pull the trigger, you don't pull the trigger. So that's what I want to talk about, is I'd rather have a little egg on my face
Oh, yeah.
for that than to say, I'm going to make another dumb decision.
Yeah.
So, so that's what we're going to have to talk about.
But
That's
we're
how
gonna
to-
have all that information for May.
That
so
we'll have the
we-
best information possible at that
That's
particular
right.
time.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
right.
And then we'll,
At that point in time.
at that point in time.
But
because-
we all know that, we're sitting up here and we understand how, oh my gosh. The people that
They're
are
not gonna
going to the
understand.
grocery store, putting their kids through school, blah, 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 blah. That is a big,
Well, I had a long conversation with some folks just last week. They were complaining about our water bill, so I went and asked them to go get it. So I broke it all out and compared it to what they pay to their Netflix bill, that they just got a $9 increase, or they got another $50 increase on their Amazon. They didn't care about that. They just think the water should be free.
I know,
So it's not gonna be, so we're gonna have that burden.
I know.
I asked them if they called Zia about their gas bill. Nope. They didn't call P&M. Nope. But you know, they know where I live, so.
I know.
But anyway, we have those conversations, but it's going to be one of those things that most reasonable people understand, that things have changed drastically, to no fault to you or us. And so we're going to have to make those, but I think we need to start implementing those things sooner than later in smaller increments.
Well, and we also have all those reconnects and new connects that we had. We had to meet the bar of 200, I think. I know we're over that, but that isn't even attempting to offset in revenues what we're looking at overall for operational costs.
And then we did the in-kind with Region 9 on sewer extensions and all that to be part of that plan.
Yeah, we did.
So, and then, you know, we're still looking at housing and all the other things, so it's a big juggle.
Well, and in a lot of areas across the country, like your trash, and whatnot is included in your property taxes.
Yeah.
And people I've talked to go, yeah, so that's the homeowner pays for that. The renters don't pay for that. Well, yeah, you do. It's
And rent.
built into your rent, you know, they take it into account. But yeah, the misleading, perception in the community overall is we're paying 100 and what for water?
Yeah.
No, break it down.
And we're still working on that bill
If you look at
breakout.
just the water part of it, if you really look at just the water, it's not much.
No. And something else, you know, like, you know, I'm getting calls because slash and debris is slow to be picked up. I know we were working on getting the equipment that we've been waiting on for a year for parts, and I know
Do we only
Jerry's
have one truck that's available?
No, they're up.
two.
They're all.
They're all up?
I heard that yesterday.
Okay, so they're all up there again, but people take that for granted today. So the narrative we need to start putting out is what you get for what you pay for.
Oh, yes.
Well, CPI is 8.3%.
And when we looked at that, it was over 9.
Wow.
And it's hitting us.
Yep. So anyway, the CPI, all the stuff that we've had to do on wage increases, material, equipment, everything. Fuel's a big one, yes, so, okay. And we're taking all the measures, you know, and that's just some stuff we just need to start talking about in the community, maybe a town hall to talk about these things. And I guess we'll start talking about it on the radio station.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good
We won't
idea.
hear much back until it actually shows
No,
up
you
on
won't
the
hear
radio.
nothing until, yeah,
Do they get their bill?
yep.
That's what happened with the franchise tax for Windstream and
Yep.
P&M back then, and then they didn't hear anything, and then they got their bill, and the Windstream said, well, it's because the village.
Yeah, the village
increased
did it.
We went to 5% on it, you know, but, I mean, that's,
I think before the next meeting, we ought to have the chief outside the door checking all eggs at the door.
Okay. Carry on.
Well, at least I can park in a spot in the parking lot. Nobody knows where I park.
That's true.
And you're leaving. Oh, we're going to forward calls to your new number.
So I mean, I compared, what I'm gonna pay for utilities in Florida to here. They're a lot more expensive there. When you look at, because it's just water and sewer collection, is $75 a month. And then all the other stuff you pay on your property tax. But here, you know, here, it's actually much more affordable than it is there for everything we do.
Yep,
Then I'll be going to their meetings going, I'm on a fixed income.
yeah.
Oh, my gosh, those poor
people.
poor Punta Cana.
They have a special new business.
Yeah.
So if there's no other questions on water distribution, we'll move to SGRT, which is in this area. Currently in SGRT, the only things we have budgeted are the water rights leases, which is on page 47, in that section behind RJU. It's in the RJU presentation, the last few pages. And the reason, and debt service. The last payment of the bonds is on June 1st of 2031. So at that time, the SGRT tax will sunset. However, if we want to continue that tax, we would have to go to the payers, and then we would have to issue debt against that tax in order to keep the 1% in GRT moving on forward. So that is something that we probably need to talk about within probably on the next election. Might pose the question to the payers, or maybe not, just depending how the climate is.
So that has to go out to the taxpayers.
Yep, in order to extend that tax, you'll have to go out to the taxpayers, but we have until June of 2031 to have that question.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be on this coming election?
No.
Oh, okay. That's a good.
So you want to procrastinate anything?
You want to protest?
There might be a reason for that. Yeah.
This could be my last budget.
And then the other monies were left in, to see what comes out of the master plan for water, to see if any of these funds can offset some of those costs. And if there's no questions on that one, that's all of the presentation for RJU.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and move on to airport and fire.
Morning.
Mayor, morning, council.
Morning.
Alrighty, what do we need to start with here? The airport fund?
Yes.
So on the rents and stuff, it's just, some of that stuff is,
You want me to do the revenues? So based on revenues, we looked at the trend and we tried to project our revenues based on that trend, although I forgot that we had decreased the low-level sales,
Low lead?
the low lead. So the projections were based on our rate
Pardon me.
through the past year. So even though those figures went up, I'm gonna have to adjust them or try to adjust them for that decrease. So the revenues may come down a little bit. On this fund, the operational revenues weren't enough to cover the fund, based on the ending cash balance at the projected cash balance at the end of June. So you will see a subsidy from the general fund to the airport in the amount of like 200,000. The first 200 and, if you look on page 91, the first 226,620 was to pay for 3 firefighters that are currently at the airport. However, when I did the projection of revenues and operational expenses, we needed to kick in another 200,000 in order for the fund to balance out.
I thought that we weren't gonna have fire at the,
Well, we haven't got all that separated because we still have to find staff and
got it,
we're out there because we'll lose the majority of the folks out there.
got it.
and when Judy is talking about the revenues, we also still have the tie-down fees and ramp fees suspended, so that's bringing the revenues down a little as well.
So the subsidy came in at 272,000. If you want to start with personnel and your FTEs.
Okay. So under personnel, the full-time salaries, we have 6 full-time employees out there at this point in time. The firemen, we're in the process of selecting a new manager for out there. The part-time salaries,
I was gonna ask, did he call back?
I'll have to get with Cheryl.
Oh, we still don't know, okay.
I don't know if he's called back or not. As of Monday, he hadn't.
He did respond, I just don't know what day he's gonna be able to head this way.
Oh, we're still engaged, okay. I thought we were washing our hands just
Well,
about.
we were until yesterday afternoon, but other than that, we didn't have any response.
Okay, thank you.
We do have a part-time employee. We have Brittany working out there part-time, and we have Mr.
Grab gut. Michael?
Michael Dudman working out there as well, so.
Dudman?
I'll be
Yes.
darned.
He's been
He's
working
still
out.
been, he does, ran into one of the flyboys that was in town on the weekend. They said they get to talk to him pretty regular.
Yes. So he's out there on the weekends right now helping us cover the phones and answer.
And who's Brittany? Brittany?
Brittany
She's the
Montoya.
part-timer that's,
She was with with HR, and she's out there part-time now, 3 days a week
Got it.
as well, so.
Okay.
So she's out there usually Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Mr. Dudman's out there Saturdays and Sundays, and once we start picking up in flights, we'll have him working some more hours as well,
he
so.
just had a hip replacement.
Yes, he did, so we're kind of taking it easy on him
Doing
right now.
good.
Yes, he's doing real good out there.
Good.
Any questions on the personnel? Okay, going down to supplies. I think everything is pretty much the same on all those. There's no increases in any of the supplies. Any questions on it, on page 92?
Your fuel went down quite a bit?
So on part of the fuel is, for our unleaded fuel, we have a 6,000 gallon tank out there. No, I'm sorry, a 4,000 gallon tank for fuel. So we may not go through that each year. So, we may have had a time that we didn't have that much fuel that we needed to purchase.
Are you talking about?
This is just for vehicles.
Just for fuel?
This is,
51,030.
Not your 100 octane?
51,030 is that?
right, and that's what I'm talking about. So we have a gas pump out there for our vehicles.
Where is that?
So my Hunter low lead tank is 16,000 gallons of Hunter low lead and 4,000 gallons of unleaded for our vehicles. And we had filled it up last year or so ago, and we just now had to fill it, so we don't have to fill that every year because we don't go through that much fuel all the time. Just depends on the amount of staff that we have out there.
Do you put a fuel additive or stabilizer in there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going, that's old fuel.
Yes, we do. And we also use that fuel item for diesel for our fire trucks as well and our heavy equipment as well. That is part of that fuel. So the more we have to use the equipment, the more fuel we're going to go through. And we just hadn't had to use the trucks as much this year.
And so the jet fuel sales went up
Let's see where,
50,000.
On the 92, the bottom, she's asking about jet fuel sales.
yes, and we projected at the 610, we will be starting to see a lot more fuel sales now with the race season coming on. We'll go through probably a truckload of fuel every 2 weeks, which is 8,000 gallons every 2 weeks of jet fuel. And that'll increase that expenditure there. So we just got a load yesterday, and it was almost $30,000 for a load. So that's what we're paying right now for that. And we're getting a load of Hunter low lead today, and that's going to be in the $30,000 range as well. So
And you say that's 4,000 gallons?
that's 8,000 gallons for the trucks.
Oh, for the trucks?
Yeah, so that's for jet fuel and Hunter low lead.
But we'll get our money back for
Yeah.
that.
Yes, correct.
75 cents a gallon.
Oh, God, I wish, can I bring my car out there?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we're charging.
That's what we're
That's not what we're
getting back.
charging. Yeah, that's.
Right now, the price is,
75 cents a gallon net, that's what we're,
Okay,
so right now,
on
Hunter
the
low
100 low
lead,
lead.
got it.
right now, Hunter low lead is at $5.80 a gallon, and jet fuel is as well. But with these new loads, it'll fluctuate a little bit, either up or down based on the price.
Right.
So you're welcome to fill your car up out there.
Yeah, $5.80 a gallon.
I'd be jetting around.
You don't want to put 100 low load in your car.
You wouldn't be able to catch me, chief.
Okay, on the next page on services. See the contractual services, we have a few more electronics that we're having to get repaired and serviced, so that's went up a little bit.
And so we did get the new Celometer installed, and it's up and working.
It's up and running, yes, it's up and working. That was installed yesterday afternoon by York Technical Services, so that basically gives the level of the clouds, the cloud base. If you got a mile clear, 10,000 feet clearance, so that was installed yesterday. That was one of the issues that we had broke down that we had to get sent out for repair, and that was about $5,000 to repair that, so. But that is working now, so all of our automated weather service at the airport for the pilots to call in and listen to the radios is working properly now.
Which it should have always been. Are we on page 92?
93?
Insurance.
The insurance and bonds went up.
Yeah.
So part of the insurance increases, are, we have to have a special insurance for the hangars, and that increases every year. It's been increasing a couple $1,000s every year.
We're not realizing that in the airport rent?
Mayor Crawford, that on the insurance, that's a separate policy, correct? It's not with the self-insurance fund.
And it's just on our stuff. It's not having anything to do with the privately owned.
No.
So all that is ours, and that's for,
That's because we have the fueling systems out there, and
Plus it's a little portion of our self-insurance fund on top of that. So we were
Yes.
allocated the difference for ours, not very much of insurance that we pay to New Mexico self-insurance fund. That was between department requested and proposed, that's the difference.
Do we also have the separate fuel insurance also with the separate broker, the tanks?
yes.
It's not with the self-insurance fund, it's separate also, correct? all
but it's not
specialty.
included in this amount, or it is?
It is,
Okay, it
yes.
is.
But if the insurance is going up on the hangars, yeah, it should be reflecting in the rents.
Well, but they carry their
They
own.
carry their own insurance on
On that.
on the land lease hangars, the hangars that the
Yeah.
privately owned hangars, they
Right,
carry.
but the hangars that we own, that's what I'm saying. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it would reflect in the rentals.
In the rent of.
So we need
our-
to do a study
Yeah,
on
you'll
that.
do a adjustment on those,
We'll look into that.
and the
yes.
tie downs underneath the canopies and all that stuff.
And your building and property maintenance nearly doubled.
So we've had a bunch of repairs that we've been starting to do, beautification we're trying to do on the terminal building and around the airport. So we've bought some TVs, put some TVs up, did some rearranges.
Did you get Hooker's picture up yet?
No, Carrie hadn't got that to me yet.
How long's it been? 2 years?
Year.
Well, that's a little, just 1 year?
I got it.
I like respect, that's all.
That's all good.
I've talked to Carrie. and she's
Confidence
supposed
is
to be
already
there.
down though, right?
If it ain't, it will be today.
He just got talking his beautification, okay? So is this mostly beautification or is it deferred maintenance?
It's both. We have some sheetrock issues. We're gonna be trying to get some painting done in the terminal building. We're putting some signs up outside for the buildings. We're putting signs on the building. We've bought a wood burning stove as well for in there to help reduce the cost of heating the building. So it's a combination of everything.
Okay.
And some work in the bathroom?
Work in the bathrooms, yes.
Okay.
The maintenance of runways, that's just basically, it showed 2023, 2024, 111,000. That's going to be based on any painting we have to do, repairs to crack and sealing. So there's supplies, light supplies, we're having some issues with some of the lighting out there. But with this new runway construction going on, that'll help alleviate some of those issues as well.
But the proposed cut it down to 50,000.
Yes. It just, that's part of this, with this runway construction, it's gonna help alleviate some of the issues.
Okay.
They're gonna redo all the connections along the runway 1230 and taxiway Bravo as part of the runway reconstructions.
But our share of that will fit within that $50,000 budget? Or you plan on spending 111?
I don't remember what our portion of that is gonna be.
On the FAA grant, that's gonna be, it's 75, we split with the state on that matching portion.
25.
So what, 12, 75?
It's 12 and a half and 12 and a
Yep.
half, isn't it?
Yep. And then on the taxiway portion of it, when and if we receive the funding, and it'll be 100%, no match at all on that.
No match.
There won't be any match on the
That
4 million.
50,000 should cover it.
Yep.
Okay. Just because you had 111 budgeted last year, but so far you've only spent 37, and it's that same amount as what you requested, but then it got slashed less than half to 50,000.
And Mayor Crawford, Councilor Coughlin, the state is also on their match portion on the large project have also stated they would visit with Judy and I, and we're going to pay for some of the additional match on the 1230 runway project, so.
Okay.
Any more questions there? So under capital, we did away with that, right, Judy?
Capital, you have a laboratory.
Right,
Here they are, right here, if you want.
yeah, I wrote them down here. So,
Okay.
so under the equipment and vehicles,
What about building improvements?
That was just a typo, so we took it out.
we didn't,
400?
yeah, that was,
404. Okay, equipment vehicles, this is your juicer unit and the,
yes, so,
I can't remember what that thing.
both of them can
What
be
was the
called
cost?
juicer units if you want, so.
What was
Yeah,
the-
both of them are juicers. One takes it, one gives it. Yeah.
So the GPU ground power unit is
Yeah.
one of the units, they run, we're looking at, purchasing a new one of those. The one we have is a 1960s model, probably, I don't know how old it is. It's really old, having some issues. But we have to have these for the planes when they come in to keep them, their batteries charged up. If some of the jets come in, we don't have this running, we have to turn them into the wind so it cools them down properly. This GPU unit keeps them to where they will start up without having to cool them down. And we do charge for that service. And then we're also looking at a lavatory service, which basically a lavatory trailer, which is to pump the planes out. We
Where
don't
are we
have
gonna put it?
the trailer, it's,
No, the stuff that goes in the trailer.
we can put it into our septics,
We can, and then we'll pump the
Yes.
and we need to make sure we have all that figured in.
yes.
Because these jet services, they expect to pay it. They ask for it all the time. It's built
Right,
into
they ask for it
the-
all the time, we have never provided that service.
These
so-
will be revenue generating.
And that's what we're trying to do, is increase our revenue. That's what the Airport Advisory Board has asked us about doing, and the mayors and the village manager, we've talked about increasing some of our revenue. So it'll be a large purchase up front, but the revenues will be a good revenue stream for the airport.
So on the outlay schedule, you have two different pumping trailers, one at 65,000, one at 25,000?
So you're pumping the planes?
Yeah, the toilets.
Toilet, just like an RV.
Oh,
it's on
okay.
All those big, those, yeah, you bet.
Some of them do.
Not the little ones,
So
the jet charters.
the $25,000 is for that. Between the two, I think we got some stuff doubled up here because,
okay.
because between the GPU and the pumping trailer, it should be $65,000 for both of those. So I think we ended up doubling up some paperwork there, and that was my mistake.
The trailer was just 25, oh, okay, I
Yes.
see, you don't, okay, so then I need to take the one out of.
Yes.
So go ahead and delete the 65,000.
So are you getting two trailers?
No.
One.
Just one?
Yes.
Okay, so
So,
delete 65.
so yes, so one of the lav trailer is at 25,000, the GPU is in the $40,000 range, but depending on what we can get. I've actually spoke with, our Avfuel representative, and he's got some leads out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that, on some companies that sell new ones and refurbished ones, so we'll be looking into that and see what they have to offer as well.
Okay, good.
And those are towed,
Yes,
so you gotta have a tug
well, we don't have to have a tug, we got,
with a truck.
we can pull them with the truck.
And then you got a issue, side-by-side thing.
We got side by side, we got a six-wheeler out there as well already, so we can get them around.
How many gallons is it?
I think this one here is a 500 gallon, so it's a pretty good size one.
That's some weight, probably not
Yes.
with the side-by-side.
But our trucks, it has one of the spindle hooks, so our trucks are set up with spindle hook hitches as well.
Okay, so I don't know if you were here when we were going through his capital outlay, so you owe me 10% of 65,000 that I just saved you.
Joe, what was the estimate again on a new
Building
lav
up that retirement
vehicle?
fund.
Lav trailer?
The ones that I've looked at was 25,000.
So they would just, the pilots would come in and they
It's
would
next
ask
year's
for
budget.
that service.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, when they're flying, go ahead.
So we have the chartered flights, basically the big jets, the net jets, flat jets that fly all these people in for the races, and the money people in, the bathrooms on the planes, not the small planes don't, but the bigger jets do. And as they're flying in, they ask if we have lav service available, so they can get their toilets pumped, and we don't. So they have to go fly back to wherever they were, or on the next stop that has that service and be able to dump there, so.
So it's built into their expenses already? We've just never taken advantage of
Right.
it. So
Yes, sir.
once we get this approved, get the stuff in, we start marketing to them to let them know through our marketing campaign that we offer
Lav service.
lab service, and then that we do have the power supply unit.
Yes.
I don't know why I can't get that down.
Ground power unit.
Ground power unit you know, so they can run their air conditioners and stuff while the jets sit there,
Yes.
you know,
And
while
that,
they're
and
just
that's
sitting.
part of it, yes. So they'll come in, those jets don't usually stay here. They're, so net jets and flat jets, it's kind of like a timeshare.
Right.
Yep.
So they purchase so many flight hours a year, and then when they come in, they basically unload the people and they take off to the next destination. So they want to get rid of some of their weight on the trailers for that, but if they're waiting on people, they may have an hour wait. They get the air conditioners going, keep everything going in the airplane, so that's what this unit does.
Got it.
And we charge them for that.
Yes.
Yeah, because if they can't dump the tanks, then they got to take off and they just pull the plug up in the air. So when it feels like
Yeah,
it's
that's
raining,
not bird.
when you think it's raining, but you don't see any clouds in the sky, that's it.
Probably.
Look for a plane.
It's just a little blue. The other question I had was, you know, we had talked about a self-fueling station as a part of our vision down the road. Are we looking at that still?
We're still entertaining that, but one thing that we're looking at is trying to relocate the entire fuel farm. I know
Off-site?
from where it's located off-site and across the road and down the highway, close to the FBO. And if we get that done, then we can run a self-serve unit off that as well.
Right.
Because we're gonna locate it near the tie-down areas is what our plan is. And the State Aviation Department is trying to see if they can help us out with some of that monies as well. And talking with my, Outfield representative yesterday, he actually came into town and we had some discussions and stuff, had dinner last night, and he said that if we can go to that self-serve unit, he will throw in a $20,000 credit card system for free as part of Outfield Corporation's.
Of course they would, of course they
But
would.
who gets the fees?
Well, it's
We do.
the credit card companies. I know, I understand that.
Or does Avfuel get a chunk of that?
And we just get the proposed sell on.
Right.
Hopefully service man-hour reduction.
Right.
Yes, and that's what it'll be, and what that'll do, man-hour reduction, and that'll give the pilots that are complaining about our fuel prices too high, we can lower those fuel prices a little bit more
Wait
because
on
it's a
themselves.
self-service versus full service.
Then we slowly move the other one back up,
Yes,
so they can take care of their own. That's just my proposal. But GPU and the
Lav trailer.
we're still looking for grant money for those through state aviation.
Sent her a text, she asked me how much, like 25K.
There you go.
for the lab trailer and GPUs are about.
So we're still working with the state aviation and all that to get whatever we can free. So hopefully those deals we won't be used in your budget.
Yes, sir. And then, of course, the capital grant, that $9.334 million is the runway reconstruction.
Which the job starts May 1.
May 1.
So the airport's totally shut down May 1.
No, 1230 is shut down May 1. 0624 won't shut down till after Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, it sounds like Spanish to me. I still don't know which one's which.
So
even though I've been out there.
1230
So you'll be able to land an airplane.
Yes. So
Good, 'cause I got people
1230 is,
coming in a second.
1230 runs
I'm already
north-south. 0624 is the main runway that runs east and west.
Okay.
And that one was done back in 2016, so that runway is good.
Okay.
But when we go to do the intersection where 1230 and 0624 cross, that's when we're gonna have to shut down the entire
That won't be
airport.
till after Memorial.
That'll after Memorial Day, and we're hoping it'll be less than 21 days, but that's what they're looking at. So we'll have the airport completely closed down for that amount of time because of that crossing, the location of it, and we have to get that done because they're digging trenches and doing electrical work in that area.
After Memorial Day,
Well, we're hoping for 14.
or are you saying after Labor Day?
No, after
After Memorial Day, I'm
So
sorry.
sometime between Memorial Day and Labor Day, it's gonna be shut down?
Right after Memorial Day.
So we're looking at like Tuesday or Wednesday, right after
Okay,
Memorial
right
Day. And we told them that we have to have it open before the 4th of July because of a lot of the bigger races that happen. So, and they're projecting about 21 days.
Okay.
We'd like to get it done sooner, so,
But we can still fly in.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, up until,
Up until
no,
that time, and then
Then,
it's,
and then
everything-
we'll
No.
fly.
At that-
because everything's tore up.
Where the two cross.
yes. So they'll be up to 21 days is what we're hoping,
We're
that
pushing for 14. If
14.
get out of the way, weather permits and all
Yes.
that.
The mayor's gonna be out there.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm already letting people know because I've got, like I said, people coming in the 2nd, and then we've got people flying in the 6th and 7th or whatever for the training races to watch their $200,000 horses run in their first little training race. And then Memorial Day, they're all coming in, so we'll be open for that, shut down.
Yes.
And then, then they're going to have to fly into Roswell, maybe
Alan
Carrizozo.
Gordo or something like that to get up here.
Use helicopter shuttles.
But yeah, I'm already hearing it from them, just ones that we've told, that we hadn't even gone out publicly yet.
Right.
We're waiting on the bullet points,
I haven't got the bullet points. We did get the flyer updated. I don't know if you saw that. Jackie sent it out to us.
well,
late
I
last
didn't
night
see the
again.
one in big bold that,
It needs to be bolder, I'll tell her, but it's there that the airport would be open. It's just not, it needs bigger.
it needs to be bigger so they don't,
Correct,
yeah, right off the bat.
correct.
But believe me, if there was a way not to be closed, we would have done it.
Yes.
And the airport advisory board sitting here and ringed everybody out
Why do you always
for.
close in the
Oh, I know,
summertime?
you know.
Yes.
So do we have penalties built into that contract if they don't perform within the?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, they do, but
Yes, we do.
right now, engineering and everything is 21 days.
Yeah.
But we're talking to them and it's Mesa Verde.
Well, it's just based on our experience. It seems like almost everything gets delayed and I need extra days and it's not gonna happen.
The last project we did, the large reconstruction project, I think they had like a 90-day project schedule, and Hamilton was out there in 45 days.
Oh, yeah, they were
quick.
in and out.
So
And
they
this is a
usually happen quick. It's just this area here is going to be the,
Because of the intersection.
That intersection. And there's a 75-day total time for the entire construction project. So just 21 days of that is the total closure. But 1230 on taxiway at Bravo, we'll be closed down for that entire time.
So I'm assuming for that 21-day total operational closure, you've got other plans for your employees that are out there?
They'll be doing maintenance on fences and
Paint,
mowing
all
and
that paint
painting,
money
all
is-
that.
painting and doing whatever, yes,
Spending all that other money?
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be in hiding,
I bet you are.
'cause it's gonna be ugly.
It will be ugly.
You're gonna throw a rifle out there, huh?
Yeah.
So can I propose changing the name of the airport to the Lynn Crawford Memorial Airport?
Memorial. That'd be just right.
Go ahead and take out some insurance.
Oh, yes, because it's already, but like I said, they started early. We got them to start early.
Yes.
And so they're making hay starting May 1st.
There's actually some guys out there right now, they're
prepping.
they're prepping right now. I got a phone call, I had to have my guys escort one of the guys down to, then the taxiway Bravo to look at some stuff down there. So they're actually prepping and they're getting the equipment moved in already, so they're ready to
Got
start
their
May
new,
1st.
their new job trailer, remember the one that was rolled over by the wind? They got this one really tied down.
Yes, they do
Yeah,
have
because
this
May
bed down.
1st is Monday.
Yep.
Yes, correct. So they're getting everything mobilized and ready to start.
Joe, the flights can come in the 2nd and the 5th and 6th and 7th.
Yes,
Small
yeah.
planes.
Yeah, any plane can land on the 0624 runways and stuff like that, but not the 1230. There may be a little bit of crosswind, but the pilots are used to that up
We're gonna
here.
have all that clearly marked.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Weather, 75 days, they can't do it. That's why the paving and everything else that we do around here is all crammed in the same time frame.
Yeah.
Concrete, all those things. Because we've tried pushing past Labor Day, and you can go up to, when we did the CDBG grant, deal up there off of Chavez, Mary, and all that, and that one flaked off right in the winter. They had to go back and redo it all. Because the ground temperature, still is getting down to 36 and 39 degrees at night,
Yes,
and you're supposed to be up to 41.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
and
still-
rising, and so that's our issue. And so did you hear that? That's a pat answer, so you're gonna get that question a ton.
Oh, we do that. I get that question on our roads all the time.
Streets.
Yeah, when are you gonna start doing potholes? Well, we're doing them.
Yeah.
Fires.
It's the same thing as why we don't have a farmer's market, because the growing season's that
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
Do you have any more questions on the airport? Mr. Mayor, Council?
No.
No, but I'll get with her, because I think that y'all should do an interview, and just because I'm gonna go see the future of my family be born on May 7th, doesn't mean that y'all can't meet with this potential manager and get y'all's opinion. So, if we can get him in while I'm gone, then and we'll pick a counselor to do an interview, go through the process, to try to get somebody on board. And if this doesn't work, because then we'll have to, did you reach out to the other one?
she emailed him.
Okay.
She hadn't heard back from him though.
And we're
Okay.
still advertising, we just haven't had
And
that.
then, so we may have to make a decision to hire this headhunting agency, which guarantees us results, but it ain't cheap.
Yeah.
No. but sometimes you have to do that.
But we've advertised, we've called, we've gone through everything. And this one that we're looking at has been at the Los Angeles World Airport for 22 years.
Yes. And he worked at
Why
an
would
airport
you
in
want
Seoul,
to go to
Korea.
Los
He said he's
Angeles?
sick and tired of,
What's the Los Angeles World Airport? I never heard of that
I
one.
don't know.
It's a smaller airport. I mean, it's a decent sized airport. It's more
Well,
for.
he's 700 employees he's over,
Yes.
something like
Oh,
that.
my, is that like the John Wayne Airport?
You got me.
I think it's gonna be similar to the
Pardon me?
It's the third one, there's LAX, John Wayne, and then,
LA World, so it's a small.
LA World? Used to be Long Beach, were the three, because I used to fly in that area, and I've never heard of LA World Airport.
I'm sure that's.
Must have been
probably just
renamed and
Renamed something,
all this
correct.
time, yeah.
So anyway, he's highly qualified. We just wanted to,
What about his salary?
we sent him the range and he's okay with it.
Yes.
You know, because coming from California, he didn't think this was an issue.
Even we asked him about housing and stuff.
Housing and
that was an
everything.
issue, so.
Sounds good.
So we tried everything on this to get somebody qualified
Yes,
to really take the reins out there.
yes, we did.
Joe,
Oh.
yes, we did.
What is it?
Okay, so Los Angeles World Airports is an authority that owns and operates LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, and Van Nuys Airport. Okay, so yeah, Van Nuys recently did some change. That's where National Guard used to be based out of there, Clay Lacy Aviation, a lot of general aviation out of there.
Okay.
So if it's Van Nuys Airport,
Well, he's running a lot of budgets, a lot of grant stuff, on a lot of the,
He sounds wonderful.
He's like the deputy director is what he calls
Yeah.
himself.
yeah. And then Ontario International Airport Authority is a subsidiary of it, so.
a lot to, that he had, and he just said that he was ready to make a change after,
And he's
he's only had 2 jobs in his life and said he was wanting to move on.
Well, yeah, probably get away from that $500,000 trailer he's living in.
Yeah, probably.
No, tell me about it. That's why I'm never going back.
Okay, what else you got,
If
Joe?
we, nothing else there, we'll move on to the fire department budget. Page 19 is what it looks like at the bottom of my page.
19?
19, yep, it's after the airport.
Okay.
Couple of pages after that one.
Yeah.
I think we're on,
And you're all, you have no, everybody has a job. I mean, all of your jobs are taken.
So actually, I just filled I had one firefighter left on the 24th. We had already started advertising. And, no, his last day was Saturday.
Yeah.
And we got the new one started today.
Oh, my goodness.
Where'd he come from? Artesia, back from Artesia?
Roswell. Yes, he had worked here for us before, and he thought the grass would be greener down in Artesia.
John?
John Herring was the one that
He's
went
already
to.
came back,
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah, this is Tyler Forrester, is
Okay.
this gentleman's name.
Who quit?
Austin Tucker,
He went to.
White Sands Missile Range
Yes.
Fire Department. Chasing some money,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so. And him and his wife bought a house down there in Alamogordo, so
yeah.
I thought that would be his better move, so.
God, it's gotta be a lot of money to live in Alamogordo.
Well, I went down there yesterday and it was short sleeve shorts were. I was the only one that didn't have flip flops in the doctor's office.
Nice.
But I can tell you, my toenails look better than anybody's in there.
why is that an image I can't get out
And
of?
I was like, don't look down. It's people, standards, man, standards. Okay.
They only have one person down there that does pedicures. So.
Yeah. You know, usually like a disc grinder needed.
Disc grinder.
Any questions on our personnel?
Nope.
No.
So we get into subscriptions and dues. Like everything there.
What was the big increase in the health insurance? The group insurance, I know it was 481, 2022 was proposed, the budget.
It was just a change in the vacancies on people taking the different coverages.
Oh,
So
okay.
that could be just a little bit of it.
Family coverages versus
Versus
single.
singles. We had a lot of singles and they got married and then they started having kids.
Yeah,
so-
right.
Oh, that happens sometimes.
Utilities went up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's just basing it on usage, and we did include a little bit of an increase. We look on, historical costs, and so we're just figuring that they're probably gonna go up.
And this is for all of our stations.
Yes.
But are all the stations included in that, solar project proposal?
They were looked at in all of it, yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all, some of them, they weren't, I don't think the one in Upper Canyon, it was gonna be considered.
And Station 1 is kind of a tough one because of the sun, that hill behind us, the sun's not hitting that a lot, so.
Yeah, okay.
So you're not gonna do fill the boot this year?
No, they stopped that years ago. I don't know if it was,
Well, it was causing a big ruckus
like I
on,
said, I heard you talking about it on.
is that a Memorial Day?
Yes, that's usually Memorial Day weekend with all the traffic and
During
stuff.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
Right there at Paradise Canyon.
Volunteer fire insurance, is that because the state's picking that up?
No, we don't. We've done away with our volunteer program because we couldn't get any volunteers and we were budgeting $12,000 a year for paying that for no volunteers, so,
Really? So they all go to Benito and
yes.
it's kinda like a cult out there, and
Or the Downs?
Well, but their volunteer stuff was in-house. A guy or gal would pick up a shift, right?
Well, no, this year we would bring people to come in,
Oh, really?
to volunteer to work 12 hours a day, but we.
Well, that's what I mean.
It was a regular volunteer program. It wasn't one of our regular employees.
Right. What I'm saying is, as opposed to Bonita where the guys.
Yes, yeah, they'd have to be a shift, yes. They'd have to come work a shift for us.
Come into a shift. That's why it was different for them.
Yes, it was different. We'd when.
oh, your guy actually had to show up, not just when
Yes,
action.
yes, they'd have to work so many hours a month as part of our, as
Okay,
part of the
gotcha,
agreement
gotcha.
that they signed. So I think that was one of the issues is
Yep.
people having to do that.
Because a long time ago, we had a chief, but it was all volunteer firefighters.
It's kind of like the Downs is. The Downs has a chief and an assistant chief and then,
Yeah.
and the rest of
Of
those.
course,
are
that was a
volunteers.
long time
And
ago.
when they have a call, that everybody
Horses
shows
pulled
up.
the wagon.
Yeah, they had to go pull the water from the well and had the bucket
Pump the
brigade,
water.
re-clean corn cobs and make their own butter.
Oh, my God.
Contractual services?
So we're got an update coming on all of our repeater sites and repeater services, so that's where all that money's going. We're adding some repeaters so we can get better coverage in the area all the way out to the airport, so that contractual service is getting all that stuff set up and running.
Got it.
Is that with Rick?
Part of it's with Rick, part of it's not.
Okay.
Radio Rick.
Yes.
Radio Rick.
What about travel in schools? It's gone up
We're,
8,000.
we've had a lot of new employees, so we've been having to do some extra training on them, send them to the fire academies and different trainings as well. So that's part of that. And some of our training we picked up on an online training platform that we use. So that's a couple $1,000s a year, but it's online that we use so we can get our continuing education credits there and our training hours there.
Sure.
So that's an additional, I think it was like $3,000 a year that we got, and it's really good quality training.
So uniforms for new hires, how's that working?
So the uniforms for new hires, we have some vendors in town that have the shirts and stuff available. The T-shirts, the polo shirts that we wear, the firefighters wear dark blue. So the vendors do their embroidery on us, and they will get them once we get the hires on. But we do have dark blue T-shirts with Riddles Fire on them without their name on them that they can go and get started with them. And then if we have a special event for them to go to, we do have some button-up shirts with badges that they can wear as well.
So, what is the used equipment that they're issued, or clothing, or what is that, their firefighting equipment?
Yes, the bunker gear.
Bunker gear, that's the used stuff?
Yes.
But otherwise, other than that, they're getting stuff, their stuff?
Yes, the fire department on our uniform, they get an allowance of $100 a month to buy their uniforms. So basically, we get a pair of Wildland fire boots like the assistant chief has on there, about $400.
Yeah.
Pants, the pants that he has on, the Wildland pants, they're $500. So
Well, aren't you something?
He's quite the little model.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
he's a model for me today.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I know those linemen.
I just want to make sure, because I've heard some guys talk about it, that they were wearing somebody else's or something?
So, and the polo shirts is where that came into play, not the t-shirts, so if they have a meeting and stuff to go to, so
Okay.
we try to get that, and I may try to in the future get a few polo shirts without names on them as well, set aside for new firefighters. And, the companies in town are moving pretty quick on them right now.
Okay.
So when we hire somebody and then they start buying this stuff, it's quite an expense for police officers and for fire.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's coming, I mean, they get a stipend, but it doesn't come anywhere near what you need.
Over time, it will pay it back.
Over time it will, but not right off the bat.
I believe too, we have a system too where we pay for the uniforms and then we collect. Oh, shoot.
There we go.
I was like, yeah, I'm telling them.
I can hear you now.
I think we have a program where we'll buy the uniforms and then we collect out of their paycheck
Yeah,
in order to help pay for that year.
that helps.
Yeah.
I know that we haven't done that because I don't know why we haven't done that. I think you do that with the PD more than,
I think it's PD, right?
We do it at the police department because we have a lot of other equipment that's mandated, duty belts, and if they're a brand-new officer and don't have that, they have to pay that up front. So that's why we do that with them at the PD.
Yeah, that's a big
We
expense.
probably could do that with fire, we just
Yeah,
have
why,
to
just have to implement that, yes.
implement it.
Great, and we can look at doing that.
Okay.
because for these guys, these new guys, that's a lot of expense.
It is, especially if you come in this time of year where we're coming into wildland season,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, because you need different.
the different type of
the
gear.
different gear, yeah.
Right. And the bunker gear and stuff, we buy that, and a set of bunker gear is about $8,000 now. So, I mean, that's covered.
a piece.
The fire fund, yes, per person.
Per man, per woman?
Yes, that's the jacket, the boots, the hat, the helmet, everything, but,
It expires every 10 years.
and every 10 years, we gotta buy new stuff.
My goodness.
But our fire fund, that's what our
Usually
state fire fund is.
takes care of that, but that's where there's cleaning and all that, and they inspect it,
Yes.
and if it's
Yeah.
deficient
Yeah.
before,
Yeah,
then it can't be used. Okay.
Anything else on that page? Any questions?
Chief, I had a question on the training. Does that, the training on the fire include the ARF training also? Is that all included in one? I didn't see it on the,
Yes, there should be a,
it's all included in the fire
yes, it is.
budget. Okay, thanks.
And do we get our oxygen generating machine?
It has been ordered. It's, I think it's at about 120 days out, so hopefully we'll get it.
By fire season.
Yeah.
And the new truck,
The new
one that we've been waiting on a couple years?
Captain Sidwell is going to Michigan May the 8th. The travel paperwork has been signed. The company is paying for him to fly out there, and our company rep here May 8th, he's gonna do a final inspection on the truck. He will fly back and they will drive it to Las Cruces, finish a couple touches like our stickers and radios and stuff on it down there, and we're hoping to have it by June 1st.
Wow.
What's the top speed on that thing?
I'm not sure.
45 miles an hour.
And what was it, is it a class 6?
This is a Class A.
Oh, class
This
A.
is a big truck.
It's that big boxy four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's a Wildland Urban Interface truck.
That's right.
it's swanky.
Yes, it's gonna be nice to have. And, if it looks like it's gonna work out great, we'll be ready within another year to order and put another one on the order and try to replace some of our other older trucks as well.
And what's the mileage on those things?
No, I'm not sure. Not very
You
good.
can't ask.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, hopefully by the first part of June, we'll have that truck ready to go in service. And what I'm planning on doing, once we get that truck in, we're gonna do an open house for the fire department and start showing
good.
stuff off. And we should have our ATV as well in, actually, I should be hearing within the next week or so that's ready to pick up in Albuquerque, and we can get our new ATV here. And we went out for bid on some two new Wildland fire trucks, and we will be bringing that to the next council meeting for approval as well to purchase 2 Wildland trucks.
And then you're looking for a new Tahoe Suburban?
Yes, we have a 2008 Trailblazer that we're needing to try to replace.
Ron's got a good one. That'll run, that one he's got. Okay, and then just another issue on the boat at Grindstone
Yes.
and whatever. Is that all in good working condition
Yes,
and all that?
we
What do we
borrowed-
do out at Alto?
We don't have it available. I mean, we have this one on a trailer that we can put on a trailer and take out there if we need to, but we hadn't had all those
When you
activities
need it, you
up
need
there.
it, yeah.
I mean, we could look at purchasing another one, have to have somewhere to store it out there, or pulling it from the station
I
too
was
out there.
just curious, because
Yeah,
we're
we-
getting ready to get a lot of people in the water and.
Right, and, you know, the thing at Grindstone is the swimming and the whippet
Yep.
and stuff is, need a little more there.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's out there.
Okay.
And it's ready to go. We just serviced it, and the guys took it out a couple weeks ago, and went running around on the lake, make sure everything was good to go, so it's up and running.
Pay me and I'll take my kayak to Alto.
Pedal it out there just as fast as you can go.
Any-
Citizens Patrol, Citizens.
A whistle and a vest?
Oh, yeah.
Any questions, any further questions on the fire department?
No, it's all pretty standard stuff.
Yes, sir. All right, next, I think we've got the emergency manager budget.
But he'll be here in about
May
16 days?
22nd.
Oh, 30 days.
May 22nd is the start date for that gentleman, yes. Eric Quayler is his name. So we're getting his office cleaned up and painted and ready to go for him to move right into, so he'll be good to hit the ground running.
And where will he be housed?
Out there with them.
He's gonna be at Fire Station One.
Fire station.
They just had to raise the door entries to get him in.
Yeah, no lie.
He's a big, he's
That's the additional construction, building
Yeah, that's your
improvement costs.
building
preparation, yes. So that takes care of all the personnel issues there, subscription and dues. The emergency manager associations that he takes part in, that'll be covered in that. We're looking at buying some, upgrading some of his furniture, some of the desks are old and, so we're looking at some of the
Well,
additional.
let's don't spoil him, for goodness sakes. What about travel and schools, the $4,000? What's that?
Travel in schools, that'll cover any training that he may, additional
May or
training we
may,
need, going to emergency manager meetings, conferences, any FEMA trainings that he may need additional that we may need to get him to.
Okay.
And is that what you're asking for, a vehicle for for that position?
No, that's actually 3 sirens.
No,
Oh, down there.
we got, we are fixing that, we did that vehicle last year, so we're waiting on the awards to be given to Tillery for new vehicle for emergency manager, the assistant fire chief, and an airport. So that was budgeted last year, and we've got those POs already
Gotcha.
taken care of. We're just waiting on the contracts. But, so yes, the $70,000 is another set of sirens. We have 3 sirens
Yep.
ordered right now. They should be coming in within the next few weeks, and then we will start getting them installed. Right now, in our siren system, we have 11 sirens. This will give us, once we get these 3 in that we have now, that'll give us 5 that are brand new out of the 11, so we'll have 6 additional that we still have to replace. We're just trying to upgrade them to newer ones. There is one that is not working out of all the 11, that's in the end of Upper Canyon right now, so one of these will go straight up there as soon as we get it and get it installed to cover that. And then the other ones, I'm gonna get with Manager Senna and look at some locations to move a little bit on some of these other sirens to get them a little more strategically located, so, and put them on village property versus just in the middle of somebody's parking lot.
I think, Chief, you had one on Sudworth, right, you wanted to
Yes.
look at,
Yes, there's one at,
by the restaurant?
at
Lucy's or,
Garcia's. There's one in Garcia's right there in the parking lot on the pole right next to the road. We're looking at moving that down actually to Station 1 area, and which will still cover that area good, and it'll cover further down, and then we're looking at putting one over, trying to put one over towards there's no sirens that hit the Pine Cliff area.
None?
No, sir. So we're looking at putting one, we've been talking to the Chevy dealership, they're actually talking about allowing us to put a pole there and put it on their property. So it'll hit that Pine Cliff area and all that area over there. So we're gonna be adding one really to that area because there's no service there.
Where's the one for the White Mountain area?
There is one at
Station
Station
2.
2.
And then one up on the hill.
There's one at the top of, Switchblade Hill at the
But
water tank.
but like Hull Road and all that area, can they hear those?
I can barely hear one, and I'm right there.
There's one right here as well, so there's still some more that we're probably gonna have to look at adding some more. I'd like to add one up by the middle school, to cover
Yep.
that area and Gavilan Canyon area. So there's some places I'd like to add some to, so we can continue growing our siren population and helping protect the,
Yeah, up there
Citizens
by the
better.
school, that might get the Gavilan pretty good.
yes. And I live up there on Switchley Hill, and that one up there, if I'm in the house, I can hear it, but barely, but if it's windy, then I can't hear it.
Yeah, I
really
can
good.
hear, I think it's Station 2, the one that I'm hearing. But I have to really, oh yeah, there it is. Of course, and that's how it's gonna be, because if it's windy,
Right.
I mean,
So we're doing our best to get everybody covered and trying to add some and replace a lot of the older ones as well.
can you hear
That's
them,
what the
John?
70,000 is.
Can
For
you hear
Pine
the
Cliff, you were
sirens?
talking about putting it on village property, so we've got the,
Especially if I notice
I don't know what the, it's a pump house or water treatment there in the trailer park?
Okay,
Would that be a possibility?
it's possible, we can look
Or
at
I
that.
know they also ran a line up the hill, up towards Camelot.
Okay.
Would that would be at a higher elevation, I don't know if
That would
that
probably
would
be
work.
better, so I'll look
That
at
would
those.
get it onto village
That's
property.
probably correct.
And then we've got it at Gavilan and Warrior, we've got our pumping station there too, which is.
Okay, right. So we could keep that on the village property, yes. So those are all good suggestions, we'll look into those as well.
So this isn't the sirens for the trucks?
No,
No,
Okay.
these are alert.
these are the big sirens.
Yeah,
And you've already got the handheld
All
speakers.
of my
trucks.
vehicles are set up that
are all
way.
set,
They already got
okay.
that set up.
Good,
Yes.
okay.
And the ATVs that we have, they're set up with sirens and PA systems as well now, so, and the new one, we're gonna get siren and PA system put on it, so we can
Sure.
use it as well, so.
And we were talking about doing that on other village vehicles with other departments, so
So Adam has started doing that, I don't know if they're all completed, I know he started doing it on his, and we're talking with Parks and Rec, getting them information on what they need to purchase as well.
I forgot to ask him about that.
So, we have been, I know Adam said he had got his in, I don't know if they're all installed yet, but I know he had received them.
okay.
Okay.
Any questions on the emergency manager budget? So next we have, the EMS Fund Act. That's just, we apply for that on a yearly basis based on our calls and our service provided.
I thought we were gonna try to talk about us taking on, no,
The what?
the EMS? No, we never said that,
Counselor, so you're talking about the ambulance service?
yes.
So that contract is up in 2026.
Oh, okay.
It would be a large undertaking.
Yeah.
Because ours aren't set up for ambulances. I mean,
We
you can stabilize, but you can't transport.
Right, we don't transport, the Lincoln County EMS transports. So what we would have to do if we want to take over that service is buy ambulances
Yep.
for the village.
I
So
just-
that's a
what
large
are we
expense.
talking about?
I know, it has been mentioned.
Thank you.
Talked about, I know Chief Thetford had talked about that contract coming up and possibly
Okay.
seeing what the feasibility of taking over
Okay.
this. Because there would be billing, that would be an income, but there's a large expenditure as well.
So is the EMS the little trucks that we've got?
So
The box truck, the orange, red ones.
now, the EMS Fund Act, it pays for our training and our supplies. That's what
Got
this
it,
does.
okay.
Oh, this, yeah.
That's all this does. This pays for our EMT training and licensing, all of our supplies, because all of our trucks do have bags on them.
Yes.
AEDs, and all
Right.
those supplies. So
Right.
we're first out on EMS calls with the ambulance
Exactly.
service. So that's where all these supplies and fund goes to.
Yep. Does that include your epinephrine and all
Yes.
that other stuff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because the fire, y'all are always the first ones to the scene.
And as expenditures go, and I'm not speaking out of school, EMS is never in the red. I mean, never in the black, it's always in the red.
Yes, correct.
It is a primary loss leader, something to consider.
Yes. And right now, if we would want to take that on as, and purchase ambulances, we had to order them about 2 years ago to be getting
Yeah.
them in another 2 years, because we're talking to one of the chiefs from Roswell. We got the EMS conference going on in town this week right now.
Yes, yeah.
And he said he actually works at Hagerman as well for the volunteer service, and they said their ambulance was 3 years out to buy one.
Oh, yeah, just like it.
And sometimes we would just exchange the box if the,
Yes.
if the motor and tranny were working, and it's still a wait.
Yes, it is.
And then another certification, and on it goes.
Yes, correct. Any questions on the EMS Fund Act? Next is the emergency medical services, some more supplies, safety equipment, travel in schools. That's covered under all that EMS Fund Act as well, 135.
Okay.
That's the one the legislature was trying to increase and they didn't pass, and I don't know why. I mean, it's just one they do need to increase
They do
it,
need to
so.
increase it a lot because of.
Can't remember how many years, Mayor, what they say, like, been there for,
Ever.
yeah, I mean, they haven't had an increase on it, so.
Right. I mean, like epinephrine, that stuff is skyrocketed and then there's a shelf life, so, there's a lot of times we may not use it, but we have to dispose of it just because it expires.
Yep. Okay, your fire protection fund?
Fire Protection Fund, this is an annual funding from the State Fire Marshal's Office, goes to supplies, vehicles, whatever we need that meets their qualifications. This is money where we buy our trucks from as well. Part of that fund would be on the next page, is actually in the transfers out on the 209, the last portion of that. Part of that fund that we get from the Fire Marshal's Office is the $90,000 going towards the payment of a loan on 2 of the trucks. And how many more years do we have on that?
The last payment's on May 1st of 2025.
So we still got a couple of years left on that. And then that money we can roll into purchasing a new trucks or leasing new trucks or however we want to go about it once we get that 90,000 back into our fire fund.
So that revenue is decreasing big time? Why is that?
So I wasn't sure if we were gonna be able to claim the airport as a station if we move all the firefighters.
Okay,
So I didn't know what the new calculation would be.
Okay.
If we do that, so I just went with a safe conservative number.
Right.
Until we make that actual physical move and fill out the paperwork for the allotment.
And one thing that we found out that we need to bring up in the discussion with the manager and look into here in the near future is the State Fire Marshal's Office came down and met with us to get ready for our ISO inspection, and we're looking at that sometime in May, I believe.
I think it's pushed back to
June now, okay, because they're behind on those, so they're trying to catch up. Is, if we want to increase our fire fund by $100,000 a year, if we have a separate administrative building, even though if it's on the same property as the fire station, it could be like where the tennis courts are, we build a admin office there, we get $100,000 a year extra.
100,000?
Yes, sir.
Could it be-
And to house fire marshals?
Fire marshal and fire chief and administrative office for the chief, the assistant chief.
How about at the public safety building? An office?
Over at the Horton?
The Horton?
But is that something that you would want to do, is be away from your guys?
That's why we were looking at the old tennis courts.
Yeah, it'd be.
Instead of them
It would be on the same property as long as we can have a separate address.
That's what they said, a separate address, so.
does it have to be a stick-built building?
Modular.
It can be a metal building, it could be whatever.
It has to have, it doesn't have to have wheels.
So why would you have to relocate there? Why couldn't just the fire marshal? Why can't it just be offices at the Horton? Because they've wanted to come here for years, and then we would have the benefit of having a state fire marshal here.
So that wouldn't be Ross?
No,
Yeah.
this is state fire marshal.
Okay,
That's what
got
they're
it.
talking about, aren't you?
No, we're talking about our
We're
office.
talking about our admin.
Why do they want it? That doesn't make any sense.
It's about record retention, keeping records away from firefighters and admin files away. For some reason, they've defined that and said that
That can be done under lock and
they
key.
can fund that separately. But they haven't defined for us the definition of admin itself.
So my experience with state fire marshal, nothing makes sense.
No. I thought they were talking, because they've always hit us up about they wanted to come here if they could have an office.
They've actually asked me if we would sign an MOU where I do their inspections and they just step out of Ruidoso.
Oh,
Well, that sounds like a
That'd be down.
win-win for them.
No, not the Dallas, just
Ruidosa? Jump on that one.
okay, I will.
I mean,
I
personally,
mean, I just have to get the MOU and y'all have to agree to it, but they've asked about that several.
what I went through recently,
I know.
jump on it.
I'm trying to get it.
I know, but would they pay you? Would you?
No,
Inspection.
They
They
basically-
wouldn't.
They would
came through and
basically
did it,
step
and
out
then
of
they
doing
came
the
through and they're
inspection.
starting nitpicking all kinds of
Just leave it to us.
No extra money.
Would be a lot better.
If y'all, I mean, I don't mind filling it out, but just to make sure y'all would agree to it.
well, we hadn't decided to demo those those tennis courts yet, had we?
It's
talking about
just a
rebuilding.
thought for the future.
Yeah,
That's
not
what we're
since we
looking
were
at.
talking about it, having the medical landing.
Yeah, we missed that opportunity.
Well, the pickleball people have already got those as new pickleball courts.
No, that's gonna be the tennis and all these will be.
I thought we were gonna refurbish the tennis courts.
It's like $200,000 a court, and we thought we were getting a bunch of money from the tennis association, but it didn't materialize. We'll be able to ask Matt about that shortly.
Okay.
I think log,
Two of the firefighters, two of the lieutenants just attended inspection school and passed it, so we have more inspectors.
Excellent.
do you remember what tennis courts that were just approved at Lodgers Tax for resurfacing?
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
yeah.
It's fine, I mean,
Yeah.
that was just an idea before that, I mean, if, and that, it could be down the road a ways. If they end up doing like moving, getting this complex over here set up with the pool and whatever, that there's all that land that belongs to the village that we could deal with.
We also thought if that was a possibility, we could have a new DOC there as well, in the same spot. So now I'm in with a new improved DOC.
Enlarged, improved DOC properly equipped. That's just some thoughts that we're entertaining, but
Okay.
And to do that, we would get $100,000 more a year.
Per year, yes.
for the fire fund.
It just makes no sense. I mean, record retention security is a simple thing.
Right.
There's passwords and electronic key fobs and all kinds of stuff to secure that stuff.
We
but-
weren't gonna argue, because we thought, wow, $100,000 for that.
Well, yeah, 100,000, but what's it gonna cost to build it and
Right.
maintain it?
Oh, yeah, your utilities on it, a couple of grand a month and, and insurance and everything, and it's like, well, we netted out $1,000.
Maybe,
It's a thought out there.
yeah. But again, that's why I'm saying, you got my vote, signed an MOU.
Other departments are moving to this model though, so you can tell us that other cities are doing this.
Just seems
My mama
so,
used to
They got
say,
land.
just because everybody else does it doesn't mean it's right. If everybody jumped off the Empire State Building, would you?
it just seems like to me that the chief and the deputy would want to be with their people.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Like I said, my experience with State Fire Marshal.
They even said,
No sense.
right there where the upper parking lot is, they said we could put a building right there as long as there's a breezeway in between the two buildings, it could be set there. They're
And it's addressed separately.
just the address separately.
A and B.
Well, the 541 address is actually the address for the substation, that old building there.
Yeah,
So we could put that as like 539 or whatever, so.
They're redoing the roof on that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
We just moved to the old substation. That'll work right there. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, we can do that.
The little one, yeah.
But do we lose money because it's not a substation anymore?
We'll lose a little bit.
We'll
Well,
lose a little bit.
I don't know how that.
Yeah, that's, so what, do one thing, it's
Yeah. So we have asked them to try to look at, like Judy was talking about the airport, even if the fire department, goes away from the airport, we can still try to station a wildland truck out there and see if and they said they could probably allow that as a substation to get us additional funding as well, so possibly, so we're working with fire marshal's office on that as well. So,
Does it have to be a working vehicle?
yeah, but we're okay on that.
Okay. I was thinking if you have a problem with one, just.
We can take like this 2003 model out there, and
Yeah.
they said that would work.
That would work. It's kind of like this building out here.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're fixing to do some work on it, rework it. I guess when they put the doors in and stuff, they took the name off the side of the building, so we're gonna work on getting somebody to give us a price on painting the name. I can't remember.
what's the name of, what is the,
Tom Jones was this one here.
oh,
So when they did some work on the facade of it, they painted over that, so we're gonna have
yeah,
to
we
get that
need to
redone.
put that back
So any questions on the additional fire fund?
on. No.
Alrighty, I believe that is it for us. Thank you, counselors, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll move on to treatment plant,
Isaac?
which is the next section. And in treatment plant, there's actually two departments. One is covered by the JUB, which is the 85-15 split with the downs. And then the other department is just 100% village expenses, which is department number 411. it's based on a history and they might be a little bit low. Again, no rate increase information or anything is included in the revenues.
So no increase for ponytail holders? Does that come out of personal expenses? Are you tired of me talking about that yet?
No.
No, you're not? Okay, well, I'll continue.
So in the treatment plant, there's 10 FTEs.
What does FTEs mean?
Full-time.
Your people.
I've been up all night.
Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, we were at the planted, but we did
Isaac,
get
you are one.
accomplished our main goal, which was to get that basin that was out of commission up and running. So we went from, I brought the plant back to life so I can sleep comfortably tonight. So
So what about the crew that's coming in next week?
we're gonna still, I still have 2 more basins to tackle, so we're gonna tackle another one on Monday. The main one was this first one, because the plant just kept on shutting down on us, but now that we got that one going, everything's running smooth and wanting to level out.
Did you ever find out what the stuff was that was coating?
No, it just looked like sludge. It all looks the same, smells the same, but the only way to really tell is to send that off.
I thought you
as a
did.
sample. No, we're gonna do it now that we have the capability of doing it, because we're down to where we got the
And this
sludge.
stuff that was coating the filters?
That's just sludge and cake, and we did get a sample of that as well.
Okay, because that was the stuff we were wondering why it was so slow to
Yes, sir.
filter.
Yep.
And Mayor, on the contractor from Las Cruces, we're just trying to get schedules set. Isaac wasn't ready for him this week, and they had some other jobs they're working on, but we want to bring them in to assist these.
Yeah,
they
so
did
these
the
guys
other
aren't
ones.
working 24/7s and.
And so Isaac, it's not critical anymore.
No,
Okay.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but no, I don't want the plant to hear me talking about it. But no, everything's going good.
Okay, all righty. Continue.
Okay, so which is the order that we're starting in? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just if you can highlight some of the areas that kind of changed. It looks like you actually had a decrease on some of your operational accounts.
Or can you explain the Enviro tax force?
Environmental tax?
Yep.
Okay, so the village's environmental tax is split. 50% goes to solid waste, 25% goes to the treatment plant, and 25% goes to a watership that is housed in the SGRT fund.
Okay.
So on anything that went up, the plant, it's very expensive to run, and things run 24/7, 365 days a year, so we're having more and more pumps and motors go down that we need to get serviced. So you gotta figure, when you send something to get rebuilt, if it costs $40,000, it's gonna cost $20,000 to rebuild or repair. Always figure it's half the cost of a brand-new unit. So on our plant maintenance, we did go up from $384,000 to $425,000. That's for high-dollar ticket items such as blowers, flight pumps, et cetera, Kubota cassettes and filters. Let's see, what else did we go up on? Chemicals, we're having to add more chemicals just to handle the hardness of the water. So that would be our sodium hypochlorite, which is chlorine to combat the organics, and then acid, which is our hydrochloric acid to handle the hardness of the water. We also add alum every single day to remove phosphorus to get it down to the permit limit. And we do add another chemical called MPE 50. And that is when we are having trouble like we are right now, it's kind of like a boost for the facility to where we can get through a week, basically. It's a polymerized substance that helps the filters filter just that little bit more, that if we ever run into an emergency situation, we dump those barrels in and we get through the week or the weekend that we're really facing a challenge on. A lot of times we only used it in fall or in spring during the climate changes, but we've been having to use it lately just to handle what we've been experiencing lately. But hopefully after these next 3 weeks, that'll be behind us and we'll move on from there. Any questions on anything like that? Our utilities, we just went up 25,000. No, actually, we went down on our utilities because we didn't spend the full 550,000 that we normally do. That includes Zia Gas with the, Zia Gas as well as the utilities. We're still looking at the solar project, trying to get that in to possibly help us in anything like that. Let's see what else. Safety equipment, we did go up 4,000 on that, and that's just for the gloves, the harnesses that we do wear for any kind of, for boots that the guys needs, or any kind of coveralls that they might need for the filter cleans that we're doing right now. Let's see, what else?
So we check those harnesses all the time.
Yes, we do.
When you go out on the catwalks.
I make them, and my safety liaison is really good about making sure my guys wear them every time they do any kind of bleeds or anytime we lift up a grading. Because one slip and you go in, it's all over. So they always tie off, and then we start doing things. Let's see, our telephone, that went up just a little bit. That's for our new plant cell phones that we got, as well as the FOG cell phone. And also for our tablets that have Wi-Fi on them, as well as long distance. Let's see now. Anything that stands out to you guys? Any questions on anything? Our travel in schools, now that COVID's pretty much kind of taken a back seat, I've been trying to send my guys to training just to get them leveled up, because that's the only way they're gonna ever move up. And we do need certified operators at the facility. I'm tired of having level 2s or level 1s, so I'm trying to get them trained up just to get those tests, even though it is on their shoulders that they do have to put the time and energy into study and pass those tests. I'm still giving them the opportunity and the right training for them to have that knowledge and study material.
Isaac,
Yes, ma'am?
I don't know when you're gonna retire, but I know that you're up for it pretty soon. Is your guys, do you have people that are looking like they would like to be an Isaac?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have 2 of them. My right-hand man, David Denny, is doing a great job, and then pretty much the other guys are gonna have to fight for it. We'll put them in a circle, and whoever wins. No, but they're actually I'm very fortunate. Sometimes I complain and look at all the negatives, but I gotta look at the positives. I do have a good crew. They are very knowledgeable. They're very hard workers. Whatever I tell them to do, they get done. I mean, everything gets done. I used to get strife from other employees back in the past of if it was too dirty, if it was too dangerous, but these guys, with all the safety equipment, as long as they're wearing it, they have no problems doing anything that I tell them to do, or I ask them to do.
So we have a good
Succession planning?
plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Isaac, how many level 3s and level 4s do you have as far as your certification?
Dave, and Joel are level 4s. Cash and Chewy are level 3s, and then the rest are level 2s, testing for their level 3. And then I think I have one level 1, and then I do have a vacant position that I'm looking at hiring either a level 1 or a entry position, actually.
Right.
Somebody that I can get trained up.
So the 3s and 4s are gonna have the cage fight to see who wins.
Yes, they will. And I do have a very competent gentleman that's a level 3, and he's very good. He's a younger gentleman, but he's very knowledgeable. He actually started before my right-hand man, but he was kind of young and a little green behind the ears to move him into that position before my chief plant operator right now that I have with me. But when I retire and Dave possibly takes over my position, that other gentleman will move up, probably. Okay, so our equipment lease rental stayed the same. We still have that loader for our compost and our sludge. Let's see what else. Training and development, I still have that $5,000 in there, just in case if we ever needed to train on our actuators, which we have 20 some of them that we send off to get repaired, or we have to hire somebody out to come and repair them. So I would like to get 1 or 2 of my guys into some sort of electrical training, as well as those particular trainings on those items.
Well, training and development, you have nothing.
Yeah, I see that. I'm sorry, I spoke out of turn right there. Yeah, it should be in green, but it's not. And so we took that out because the training that we wanted to take in Chicago was no more. That company either just stopped it or something, so, I think I have it somewhere else where I would like to send one of my right-hand man to, and that's in the travels and schools as well, just for additional training. Our equipment maintenance, it's still 400,000. It's, we're still, okay on that right now. We're gonna make it till the end of the year. That's for parts, for, fittings that we always have to have, oils, radios that seem to get dropped in the basin periodically, annual inspections of fire extinguishers, other O&M supplies, pumps, plumbing and mixer repairs, EPA required backup equipment. The vehicle maintenance, I upped it 2,000 because I want to need tires on several of our trucks that are just old and cracked and weathered. On our building property maintenance, I still have the 240,000, and that's because I do need to asphalt the facility. Our beds do have some areas that could become problematic if we don't get them sealed up eventually, as well as our sludge handling pad where we compost our sludge and compost. So that is definitely gonna have to get asphalted, and I'm having Gigi right now, who's my administrative assistant, looking through CES to hire a company to come out and just get that paved as quickly as we can. Hopefully before the end of the year, but it's hard to get people to respond to us and to want to come out and do things, so it's kind of a little bit of a challenge. Let's see, I would like to get another mule, which is like a cart, but instead of a battery operated, it'll be a gas-powered cart. These battery operated carts, they have 10 batteries in them, and they seem to go out all the time, so that's just a huge expense. I'd rather just get a gas one that'll hopefully last forever if you do the proper maintenance on it. I put 20,000 in there, hopefully it'll be a lot less than that. It's gonna have to be four-wheel drive, because we do use it to push snow as well around the facility. I don't let them use the tractors anymore, because we were gouging and causing damage on the asphalt, so now I just make them use those mules or gators or whatever you want to call them. Okay, any questions on anything?
Sorry you're having to work so hard.
Oh, no, it's all good. It comes with the territory. And like I said, this loss of sleep and this working hard is all gonna pay off in 3 weeks. When I go to the village concert over here at Wingfield Park on the 20th. Go see the Metallica tribute band or Molly Hatchet or whoever it is.
It's actually Molly Hatchet.
That's gonna be sick. That's gonna be a good show. I love Molly Hatchet. Contractual legal fees, we still have Zach Cook. He hasn't really used too much of that, but we still have him under that. Let's see what else. The fine screens, of course, we got the ball moving on that, so we're gonna be able to do that as a sole source, which was a big accomplishment. We were thinking that we weren't gonna be able to do that, so hopefully we'll be able to get the ball rolling. I think I'm gonna present it to the JUB this month, I think, and get that all taken care of and the ball moving on that. Anything else? Any other questions on anything that stands out?
Thanks, Isaac.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have the appraisal on the property, so we can find out if we're moving forward on your solar project that
Yes,
we've
sir.
been working on for Lord knows how long.
I sent the engagement letter to Mark Beatty, and it's on his schedule to get that moving, so he did get the survey completed for the 1.5 acres and then sent it to Mark.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you, Isaac.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
thank you,
You
Isaac.
guys have a great day.
All right, buddy. Lunch is here. What are we having? Slotskis. So you guys want to have Slotskis, and then you guys can. Well, we only take 4 minutes to get back here.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, y'all can eat.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
We always have plenty, because we never know who's going to be or not going to be.